Hi, everybody. This is Justin. So this is the first part of a little compilation that I decided to make of Claude and I talking about the cabin over the years. I thought it'd just be interesting to hear these things back to back. There's quite a bit, and of course I can't cover them all, so I tried to just go to obvious places. So this first clip comes from the band Behind the Curtain. So this goes pretty well with the recent little mini-sode we did about the script. This is us at the time when it came out, reacting to the initial trip of Ben and Locke to so-called Jacob's cabin and what they encountered there. So enjoy.
Or is it like some other thing, like some weird like island thing that has nothing to do with them, or you know?
I mean, the hostiles should be connected to whatever is really going on the island, I think. I mean, it could be something where, Jacob is on the island and all the mystical forces are sort of connected to Jacob, and then the original hostiles come and they're sort of whatever, but they're not specifically connected to Jacob. Maybe they sort of have a communion with him, but they've never seen him or talked to him, and they don't know really what's going on or why, but they've got some seemingly mystical things going on with themselves, but then for whatever reason they find out that Ben maybe is special or something, and that he will become their way to get closer to Jacob. So maybe that's why, and if the voices are connected to that, then maybe that's why they kind of had the mother and / the voices lure Ben out to meet Albert and sort of do all that. Maybe that's what that's all about, is that they know who he is, or I don't know what he might be capable of or something.
Mhm.
It
was interesting. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
It was interesting that she warned him about the fence. I mean, it's odd that this spirit thing has knowledge like that.
Yeah.
And I guess I can buy it, but I don't know. I find it odd that she really knew.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? If she's a figment of his imagination, which I don't think she is, then she should know that, because he should know that, even though he was about to run through there. But he at least heard about it during the orientation if he was paying attention.
Yeah.
And obviously you sort of see a fence like that, you should know not to cross it. But yeah, I don't know why she would know that. I don't know. But I did want to say, I have nothing to say about that, sorry.
Okay.
But I did want to say that in terms of Ben's gesture of free will and commitment or whatever, I guess his big gesture was the patience of putting up with his dad / killing his dad.
Yeah.
That was, as we see in the end. And it just calls into question the whole morality thing again. It seems like the hostiles, not only do the others, which are a product of, the hostiles and outsiders, but like the original hostiles themselves, have some skewed morality themselves.
Yeah.
Which is, weird.
I mean, his dad was an asshole, but
Well, and it's such a writer thing when he's like, you know what, Ben, I'll try to remember your birthday next time. That one bit of like niceness right before he dies, so you feel even worse about him dying.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
It was weird, and but we'll talk about that. Let's do the old Jacob thing.
Okay, Jacob.
First thing, what's that powder, man, surrounding?
Oh, the powder.
Surrounding Jacob's house.
I feel like that's supposed to be volcanic ash.
Okay, and how and why would it be laid out in such a uniform pattern?
Well, I don't know.
Okay. I'll buy that it's volcanic ash, because that whole scene with the volcano shouldn't be pointless.
Yeah.
But and she said it was a long time ago when the volcano went off.
Yeah.
But is the ash protecting? Is it keeping Jacob there? Maybe is it keeping him imprisoned in that area, or is it preventing certain people or maybe Smokey from entering that area?
Maybe. I agree. It shouldn't form that way naturally.
It shouldn't. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely deliberately laid out,
Like a stripe.
Yeah, going sort of around the whole thing.
Yeah.
I guess at this point I would imagine that it's keeping Jacob locked in there. I mean, I don't know where he would want to go, but
I don't either.
But it seems to be.
What does
like
Jacob do in his
I
free
don't know
time?
what he do all day. I guess he collects jars of random colored shit.
Golf, ping pong, painting.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. He likes to
Reading.
paint pictures of dogs and Jacob. In my free time, I like long walks on the beach, random jars of random shit, sitting in the dark, dressing as a pirate, and painting pictures of random dogs.
Mhm.
If you want to know more about Jacob, press 2, 4, 5, 9.
Oh God. It's hard to find good companionship when you're a disembodied spirit thing that most people can't see or talk to.
Exactly. The women always complain he has communication issues. Well, they're just not special enough to hear him.
You know, I just feel like he was never there for me.
I would talk to him and he would never say anything back.
Oh God. Yeah. What was the point? Oh yeah, the ash. Yeah, I have no idea what to make of it. It stood out. Because, they took the time to have Locke, check it out.
People always touch stuff, man.
They got to touch it.
If I looked at someone, I'm going to see this guy who's potentially scary and weird, and Ben just stepped over this stuff. Like, why am I going to pick it up?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Did he lick it? I don't think he licked it.
He didn't lick it.
Okay, good.
That would have been a step too far.
They always want to lick it when they, pick up some shit like that. Like, Echo did that when they found the question mark catch. Like, he picked up the dirt and licked it. Oh, it's salty. Wow, I'm glad you licked it to find out.
Yeah.
Like, yikes.
It's weird. Like, there's a while ago was, I don't know how to tell this story, but I was talking to some geologists, and, if the sort of joke about geologists is that they lick rocks. Mm-hmm. And it was 2 geologists and 2 engineers, and there's this whole, rivalry there with engineers and geologists because one thinks the other doesn't really do anything. But anyway, the engineers were calling the geologists rock lickers, and they were like, yeah, we actually do lick rocks because if you lick a rock and feel it between the back of your teeth and your tongue, you can kind of tell what kind of rock it is and all this weird stuff. And so there is a thing about that where you can sort of identify certain types of geological things by putting it in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Just thought I'd bring that little tidbit up for all the fans out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The things you learn at a bar.
Indeed. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting. So we talked about the powder ash stuff. Now here's a little question. Why does Ben think that Locke could see Jacob? I sort of thought, on the first review when, the beginning of the episode, Ben is saying no one else sees Jacob, no one else talks to him, and then when that proves to be true, I thought, oh well, it's literally true that no one else sees him or talks to him because no one can.
Yeah.
But then in this scene, Ben is surprised that Locke can't see Jacob.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, is he surprised because he thought Locke was special enough to be able to see him automatically, or is he surprised because he thought that everyone could see Jacob?
I think the first thing.
Okay.
I think what's going on here is that based on what Alpert said in the last episode, they kind of think that Locke is special somehow, and his connection to the islands and all that. So they expect something from him. I don't really know what, but somehow they have this interest in him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Ben feels threatened by that because I think he sort of had that role for a while, as being like the special one who gets to talk to Jacob and stuff. And based on Locke getting healed and Ben getting the cancer and stuff, I think Ben started to think, oh man, this Locke guy, like he might be more in touch with the island than I am. And so I think he thought Locke would see him. And I think when he didn't see him, he was glad. Like I think he told him like, "Yo, you're too limited" or whatever, I think he was initially glad that he didn't see him.
Mm-hmm.
He thought that was a good sign, like, okay, he's not as special as me.
Yeah.
But then when he does talk to him, I think that's when, he decides to kill him.
I think exactly what you said, except I think that he assumed everyone could see Jacob. Just by the way it played out, I just think he thought everyone, because he just seemed genuinely surprised, like, what do you mean? He's sitting right here,
Mm-hmm.
And then when he realized that only he could see Jacob, then I sort of take what you said, that he, said, oh, well, I guess I'm more special than Locke is. But then, oh, no, wait, he just heard him say something.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Ben should have preferenced, I don't know, like, I mean, obviously it would have ruined the scene if he's like, I don't know if you can see this guy because not everyone can. Like, that would have really ruined the scene.
Yeah.
This guy's invisible to everyone but me, but maybe you can see him.
Yeah.
Really, really anticlimactic. But okay, I'll buy most of that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ben, real quick, can we take a quick departure? Not a big departure, but why is Ben healing? He's walking without a cane now, and he's back to normal. Presumably it's something to do with Locke, but what has Locke done besides be around?
Well, in the last episode, your theory was that like the others going back to nature or something, getting out of O-Town, somehow, brought them in better communion with the island. And
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Nice.
That was your theory.
Glad somebody's listening.
My crazy theory was that Locke was like radiating healing powers. And
that's the one I remember. I don't remember what I said. I remember your crazy theory.
Yeah. And then Locke induced them like leaving and stuff, and that was why. Like, I thought your theory was more plausible, but
yeah. No, okay, I'll buy that. It's so quick because it's like the next day, right? And
yeah.
He's just totally healed and no cane, no anything.
It is, yeah. From like wheelchair, like can't even move his legs, to like no problem walking around, trekking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's really drastic, and I think part of it's just like for the script.
Yeah.
Having, they don't want him to like be too handicapped trying to, go on this track.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
it'd be awesome if like he couldn't walk and like Locke's legs gave out.
Oh God.
They're crawling around in the jungle together. We'll get there soon enough. Keep crawling.
Oh, God.
He's like, oh, where's Boone when you need him?
I know.
Oh, he's dead, Locke. You killed him, remember?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Things like that, like when the show is all said and done, like I know we're going to have a huge podcast or a series of podcasts to go back on things like the whole sacrifice of Boone. What did that really mean? Was that accurate? Like all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's Locke saying he had to sacrifice Boone. He's probably wrong.
He's probably wrong.
Why?
I mean, yeah. Why couldn't he walk? Like that's really weird. I think.
Yeah.
The one time that's ever happened.
One time.
Like what? What were they doing? I don't know.
Well, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt that he was seemingly reprimanded twice. The couldn't walk and then the voice taken away.
Mm-hmm.
So presumably those are the two times he wasn't on the right path. So.
Yeah, the voice taken away was way less of a problem than the.
Yeah, definitely, but still weird as hell.
It was weird, but it didn't really.
Yeah, they resolved that quickly.
Didn't really matter that much. The fact that he couldn't walk pretty much led to Boone's death.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I don't know. I really wish I could talk to, like, I wish I had a time machine and I could go, like, talk to the old Lost Riders. Like, what are you guys thinking? What do you know? Like, do you have any idea what you're doing?
Yeah.
You know, because I'm really curious about, you know, how much they know and how much they just try to make work retroactively, you know. It's like, stuff from this season I'll buy that they, you know, pretty much planned it out. But, like, some of that old shit just looks weirder and weirder as time goes on.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'd love to know what was going through their minds. But I won't ever. So, c'est la vie.
C'est la vie. All right, let's go back to Jacob.
Jacob.
Oh, Jacob. So, you know, Ben says that Jacob hates technology as much as John does. I'm guessing that means that Jacob is probably not a modern man. You know, didn't grow up in the outside world and all that stuff. I mean, I you know, obviously I'm sure people by now have seen clips of Jacob from the little flash in the episode. They've seen screen caps of Jacob, and from what you can tell, you know, he to me he kind of looks dead, and he's got like long hair and like a lot of long hair, and and he's got sort of an old-fashioned, almost like colonial era America like sort of suit shirt thing, some sort of old type suit on, you know, maybe Black Rock era type suit. I don't know. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, and it looks like he has some kind of stubble.
Yeah, there's something going on in his face.
A lot of people seem to think this is Terry O'Quinn. I'd just like to go on record and say I don't think this is Terry O'Quinn.
Yeah.
So put me down for that not being him.
You know, I don't think it's Terry O'Quinn. The only thing I would buy is that if they would explain it in some way, like Jacob sort of reflects himself similar to whoever sees him or something like that. Yeah. Especially since Locke it was sort of Locke's POV that we saw him, and it was sort of very quick.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only thing I can think. Not that like he's always been looking like Terry O'Quinn, like that's just how he looks because they're related or some random crazy theory like that. I'd like the other crazy theory that he just sort of looks like who's ever looking at him. That's the only crazy theory I'd buy. But I don't really think that's Terry O'Quinn. I mean, you can barely tell from the facial features.
Yeah, I mean, there was a whole thing with the Portuguese guy in the season 2 finale being Matthew Fox, and you know, it turns out that wasn't even Matthew Fox, and that was like a clear close-up. You know, in this case, like, you really can't see. He's totally out of focus. You really can't make out but like the vaguest facial features. And not only that, I've seen pictures of actual people where it doesn't look like them. So, you know, so I'm perfectly willing to believe that maybe this kind of looks like Terry O'Quinn because of, you know, some accident or the way they shot it and stuff. But, like, if you really saw this guy, you know, you wouldn't think he was Terry O'Quinn. You know what I mean?
really think it's just sort of the forehead and, like, the nose, you know, it's kind of similar. But, like, it, you know, that it would just be weird if it was him.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's him. I don't think whatever. I think it's just some person. Maybe they'll use him again, or maybe they won't. They showed him so quick they barely need to.
Yeah, you know what's weird is I think what was kind of weird, you know, with all the other strangeness with Jacob is that he didn't sort of move. He was just kind of like stagnant.
Yeah.
Which was really even more scary, you know, because there's all this stuff flying around, and he just sort of like force pushed, like being against the wall, whatever powers he has. I don't know if he's using the force, but he just pushed. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. Obi-Wan Kenobi shows up. So it seems like, you know, if you're in that kind of situation, you would be a little more animated. But he was just so still. In that that half a second we saw him, it was like he was almost like a corpse or something. And I don't know if maybe he is sort of this like invisible corpse that, like, you know, you can hear him talking and know it's him, but he doesn't sort of move his mouth or anything weird. I don't know. it just, really reminded me of Psycho, the old, Norman's mother in the rocking chair kind of thing, where, he's hearing her talk, but it wasn't really her, but.
Right.
I really thought Ben was crazy for a good, 45 seconds.
Me too.
I was like, wow, that's awesome. He just, made it up and, there's nothing really, there's stuff going on the island, but he has no clue what's really behind it. And,
he's just really out of his mind. And he's like, actually, my first thought was, he's just fucking with Locke. He's trying to make him think, Jacob is this invisible person, and I thought he was trying to trick him at first, and then he convinced me that he really believed Jacob was there, and then at that point I thought he's crazy. He's just out of his mind. He has all these grand ideas, and he thinks he's getting them from this imaginary person, and I agree. I kind of thought that might be an interesting direction to go in.
I thought. I mean, I didn't like it partially because it would make it seem like there really wasn't anything big going on.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy that Ben was trying to put on a show, and even when Locke leaves and Ben comes out, and then Locke. I mean, after presumably seeing Jacob in the chair and these telekinesis things flying around, he still pretends that was just a show Ben put on for him.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could convince yourself that was a show, that someone could actually do that, make things break and lock doors behind you and weird stuff like that. That would be an awesome show. I should take that show to Vegas, But very, very good scene, as we talked about before. Very, very well done little scene here. Very scary. So can we talk about the dog and the liquids in the jar or whatever that was?
Sure.
And the dust in Jacob's chair and
yeah.
There's three big things in this scene.
Yeah.
I mean, the dog was. I'm not a dog expert.
What?
I haven't done that in a while. I know it says it on my business card, but
strangely enough, that's not why I thought you were a dog expert.
Oh, really? Huh, okay.
Mhm.
So many things on my business card.
It's all that dog stuff you do.
It's all that dog stuff I do. All that experting around I do about dogs. I don't know what kind of dog that was. Maybe our listeners can write in and tell us what kind of dog that was. I sort of assumed it was some sort of beagle, some sort of hound dog type thing. You couldn't really tell. It was hard to see, but
the picture, when I looked at it for a while, it started to look like it was actually a hairy dog man.
What? A hairy dog man?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what that is.
Well, I'll tell you.
Is it like a Yeti?
Sort of. Basically, like a man, but hairy, and a dog's head.
So, in that movie with Tim Allen where he turns into the dog?
No, I think didn't he just turn into a regular dog?
What was it, the Shaggy dog? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
The dog kind of looked like Tim Allen, didn't it?
Yeah. Zing?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what to do with that. If anybody's seen the TV show, not the TV show, the series, the miniseries, Stephen King's the miniseries. You know what I'm talking about, right? Everybody does.
Oh yeah, classic.
Classic. There's a scene in there where I don't. Sometimes I bring these things up. I don't know why I'm doing it. There's a scene where it's in this mental institution, and it's this one of the kids. He was a bully when the group of main characters were kids, and he grows up and he's in this mental institution, and then it comes to get him, and it attacks one of the guards by taking the form of this dog, but it's a human body but with a dog head. Anyway, that's what it made me think of.
Some sort of Egyptian kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess so. But it has security guard uniform.
Oh, okay. So the Egyptian thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't remember that part. I remember the shower scene, which was really scary.
Oh yeah.
And they all float down here scene.
Oh man, classic. One of the best scenes ever.
Which really curtailed my sailing of paper sailboats in little whatever that was, a string thing.
Yeah, the gutter.
The little gutter thing, yeah. And that specifically the gutter, like, yeah, I would never. I remember being young and like we were playing outside and somebody kicked like the little ball we were playing with into one of the little gutters.
Yeah.
What's it called? It's not a gutter. Is it a gutter? It's something else. There's another name for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, and like my friend actually went down there to get it, and I'm like, I was so scared. I was like, I can't believe you, like, because I was like, oh, ball's gone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going in that thing but he actually crawled in there and got his ball and got out and lifted hell about it. So.
Yeah, when I was younger, I actually used to like to climb into those things just
I
for
remember
fun.
that story. You told me that a while ago, and I don't want to believe you.
I didn't even have to have a reason. I just hop on in.
Did you do that after you saw it?
It was before it.
Okay.
It was before it. After it, I would never do it again.
Yeah.
And actually, after just like a little rational thought, I would never do it again.
Yeah, right? A little common sense, a little maturity with age.
Yeah, I guess when I was a kid, it didn't occur to me what might be creepy about doing that.
Yeah, and like it's just not really safe, and who knows what's down there, and
exactly.
Like, I was just always afraid. Like I was like, I know I could squeeze in there to get down there, but I never knew like how far the sort of floor went down there. You know what I mean? So it's like I would be afraid of getting out.
Right.
And being stuck, and then, like, presumably, like, you go down there, and then it leads somewhere else, and some sort of tunnel system or whatever, and, like, what, oh,
yeah.
Geez. No thanks.
I liked being down there and just kind of, like, looking out of the world like it was a covert, like, hiding place.
That's why you go home and take all the pillows from your couch and make a fort.
Oh, okay.
And then you can look out of your fort. I used to watch TV like that as a kid. Like, I'd make a fort right in front of the TV and just, like, sit in my fort and peer out and watch TV. Oh, I had a very interesting childhood.
Much safer and softer.
Yes.
Than my method.
Or would take like sheets and like tie sheets to different things and get the vacuum and tie a sheet to it and make a little sheet for it and sports were great.
Oh yeah, I did that too, but it didn't quite. I don't know. I guess you had a TV too.
Yeah.
There was only so much entertainment once you crawl down in that thing.
Right. Yeah. I would pretend I was camping and like all that random stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It was fun. Why don't people do that anymore? I think adults should make forts at home. Why not?
Why not?
Make a fort.
Come on.
Come on, listeners. When you go home tonight, make a fort.
Make a fort. Please.
And when your kids want to play with you, say, no, it's your fort.
No,
get your
it's
own
my
fort.
Stay out. Yeah, get your own.
If you want a fort, little Johnny, go make a fort.
Mm-hmm.
Mommy's busy. Mommy's having a nervous breakdown. Go tell Daddy to call Dr. Stevens. Daddy left Mommy, you say? Now Mommy remembers. Now Mommy's sad again. Now Mommy knows why she's having a breakdown. Oh, yikes.
Yikes, indeed.
Oh, yikes. That's just funny and very sad.
Love that. What? Oh, yeah. Dad's not here. That's all right.
Yeah, exactly.
What was I thinking? It was 20 years ago.
Oh, that's just sad. He went out for a carton of cigarettes and never came back. Why didn't I remember that? He didn't even smoke.
Of course. Should have been a giveaway.
Oh, Mommy was young and naive at the time. Where's my little red pills?
Oh, God. Wow.
All right.
So
only in a law slowdown, folks. Only in a law slowdown.
Indeed. So back to the hairy dog man.
Okay, yes, that's where we jumped off from.
I have no idea what to make of that.
Lockpedia claims it's a hound dog, which I'll buy. That's why I said sort of a beagle or a...
They don't think it's a hairy dog man?
No, hound dog.
Man!
Close.
Do they, where do they, what listing is it under?
It's under Jacob, and towards the bottom under unanswered questions.
Okay. Ah, yes. Unanswered questions. Ah, I see. I don't see any pictures though. Oh, they just say it? It's just text?
Oh, they just say it, yeah. They don't. I haven't been able to find a picture of the dog.
Oh, okay.
They just say it.
I was hoping it was the picture. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. It's odd. I'm tempted to say it's just like whatever. Like decoration.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they did make a point to show it. You know, I want to believe that it's some significance to Smokey. By Smokey, I mean Vincent, which is and I kind of Smokey and by Vincent, I kind of mean Smokey again. So,
I was gonna say.
You know, I don't really know what to make of it either, but I think there's something going on there.
They had that odd picture in Ben's room with the woman with the gerbil or whatever, and you know, I don't know what to do with that. And
when was that?
In Man from Tallahassee.
The woman with the gerbil.
Yeah, I think it was a gerbil or hamster, some kind of little creature, some kind of little mammal creature. Yeah, it was in his room, you know, when Locke was talking to him.
I don't remember that. Interesting.
Okay, well, yeah, anyway, the mural, for instance, in the hatch.
Yeah.
You know, interesting to look at and ponder about, but, in the end, you know,
Yeah.
You know, what do you really get out of it?
That's true.
So, yeah, I guess I feel like it's an interesting little thing, but I can't imagine what it would really mean. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of those things are just sort of, you know, when the writers come up with these characters and their environment, they do little touches like that, you know, and you know, probably with the art department too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just little touches. You know, it's relevant to their character, but not necessarily to the plot.
Right. Oh, I forgot to mention. Damon and Carlton, they actually talked about the mural again somewhere. It was probably the official podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And they said once again that it's supposed to be Desmond that did that mural.
Okay.
So I think we can safely assume that at this point.
Good.
I don't know what it really matters anymore, but
yeah. Well, there's that sort of sailboat thing in there, so I'll buy that. You know, he did it.
Yeah, it's been a long-standing Lost Lowdown thing, so
yeah,
had to bring it up.
Yeah, it's interesting.
He just supposedly painted that during the time when Kelvin was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Or something. Or maybe not. I don't know. Sometime when he was there. Anyway.
Well, you know, when we first see the hatch, the station, the paints are still out. I feel like it was somewhat recently.
Yeah. There you go.
Unless he just worked on it, you know, a little bit over many years or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or unless he just kept his paints there. I don't know.
Yeah, never bothered to put them up.
Yeah.
Oh, Desmond, you're so messy.
Why put them up when there's a button to press?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay. So we talked about the dog. Okay, then there's jars of some sort of liquid or jam or
red,
I don't know.
And sort of like
red and
yellowish.
Kind of gross. Like you know, like some person who pees in a jar and keeps the thing.
And it's a red pee.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the red stuff is, but there was sort of like an orangey or yellowish stuff.
Yeah. That did look like they peed in a jar.
Oh, Jacob, get a bathroom. The all-powerful Jacob doesn't have indoor plumbing. Can't have it all, folks. Can't have it all.
Yeah. Maybe his hatred of technology extends that far.
Yeah, I mean, he had some technology in there.
Of course
I mean,
he did.
You know, the lantern.
The house itself is technology.
Yeah, and I think he had like a furnace heater thing.
That's what gets me about people who hate technology. They always like some technology. They don't want to do without it altogether.
Yeah, I mean, even like, wearing, modern clothes, the product of technology,
sure.
Any sort of processed cotton clothes or any sort of stuff like that. Like, if you don't, like, grab some leaves off of a tree and tie it to a vine and wear that, like, which they would never do on the show.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, if Jacob is really, as old as he sort of seems to be from his clothes, then obviously sort of any sort of electronic technology is what he abhors. But yeah, obviously he's gonna need some sort of technology.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's some vague sense of where it stops being like okay technology and it starts being the bad technology.
Yeah, I mean the lantern is basically just a fancy candle, and
which is technology.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but it's very low rung of the ladder technology.
It is low rung of the ladder, but I mean to live without technology altogether, I mean, oof, it'd be rough.
Oof.
It'd be rough.
You just were exclaiming in German, apparently.
Yes.
Oof.
I do that sometimes. I revert to my mother tongue when I'm really upset.
Well, guten Tag and Auf Wiedersehen.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Nice. Did you hear the thing about that? I don't know if it's true. I remember hearing that. That's the famous John F. Kennedy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that really means like I'm a secretary. Did you ever hear that?
No, I did not hear that.
Like I don't know. I don't know if someone told me that, if I read it and it was a joke, but I remember every time I hear that phrase, I always remember that I heard that once, that's not really the German way to say like I am from Berlin or I'm German or whatever that's supposed to be. Like it actually means like I'm a secretary. Which sounds preposterous. I don't know why I brought it up, but that's what I always heard. So
yeah, that's pretty weird if Berliner is the word for secretary.
Yeah.
Because it's, it felt like that. I think there's a general, like, there's a lot of words in German where it's like blank-er, and it means they're, that person doer, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a proper, like, German language pattern thing, and the city is called Berlin, and, it makes a lot of sense that should be someone from Berlin. It would be very odd if it were secretary.
Yeah. I just Googled it, and there's some apparently there's a double meaning there with Berliner or something, and it says it says there's an urban legend stating that Ich bin ein Berliner can be willfully mistaken to mean I am a donut. But apparently that's incorrect. But apparently Berliner is not known as such in Berlin, but as this other word, which I cannot pronounce. And apparently the audience responded with cheer rather than laughter, so he was probably right. Apparently grammatically correct thing would have been Ich bin Berliner, meaning I'm a person from Berlin.
I see.
Blah, blah, blah. By adding the ein, the speaker instead indicates a figurative relationship, or that he only shares some characteristics of the group indicated.
Oh, dear.
So anyway, the secretary thing is wrong, and apparently the donut thing is wrong, too, so... Although it is funny.
It is funny.
I have a donut. Yay!
Yeah!
Oh, Kennedy!
Woo!
We're donuts, too! Wait, what's a donut?
Oh, good question.
Okay, so we talked about those two things. The third thing is the sort of dust or dirt or like leaves or sticks, or there was a lot of weird stuff in Jacob's chair. It was a combination of things.
It kind of reminded me of the like piles of Okay.
Yeah, the Pearl Station stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the same, but it was definitely sort of a similar, like, random substance on a surface.
Yeah, in spirit, not in like what it looked like.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It reminded me of that whole thing with the pearl and just having, dirt, weird piles of random shit, like like a chair just sitting there. I just don't see how it just gets this odd pile of dirt and stick on it,
Yeah.
It's very strange. So anyway, yeah, it reminded me of that whole thing.
Yeah, it was kind of like remnants of, someone or something sitting there, or like, it was sort of in a circular pattern too, and I don't know what that was supposed to be. I really can't tell.
Yeah, I mean, if you sit there, like Jacob's sitting there, just like excretes dirt and stick. I mean, kind of.
Yeah, it was definitely strange.
Odd.
What could that be? It's funny too because they show another chair, like when stuff starts rocking around, they show another chair that doesn't have any like dirt and stuff in it.
Yeah.
So it's not just supposed to be like sediment over the ages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay.
To say nothing.
So I want to ask a question about the cottage or the house itself.
Okay. That's the house that Jacob built.
The house that Jacob built. So my first question about the house that Jacob built is, who built it?
Let me see. Echo? No. The house that Jacob built. Who built it?
You have 30 seconds.
It's a sort of philosophical question. Who built the house that Jacob built?
Mm-hmm.
The house that Jacob built was built by the person who built the house that Jacob built.
Mm-hmm.
As many woodchucks as he could. Many woodchucks as a woodchuck could. I don't know, man. I have no clue where the house came from. It wasn't like a log cabin type house, so it didn't seem too old. It seemed, maybe, I don't know, early 1900s at the earliest.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It was all sort of like plywood and, flat wood boards, not like log cabin style.
Right.
I would have to say maybe Jacob built it. I don't know. Jacob, I'm sorry, I was just looking at the episode here, and they have that shot of the ground when the fire explodes, and the same stuff in the chair looks like what's on the ground, like the same dirt and twigs and stuff. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it's just supposed to be like dust and dirt and sediment over the ages. It's the same stuff that looks like it's on the ground, so I don't know.
Jacob doesn't clean after himself.
Well, he can't interact with the physical world, I guess. So,
okay.
I guess he can because he threw stuff around, so whatever.
Yeah.
Take that back. I forgot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's like some sort of poltergeist where he has to get like really angry before he can like interact with the physical world.
Is that the deal with poltergeist?
Well, I mean, you've seen what movie? I'm thinking about Ghost. Remember Ghost with Patrick Swayze?
I never saw Ghost.
See, and this is the reason to see Ghost, so you would get my point right now.
I'm the only person in America who's never seen it.
Very good movie. Whoopi Goldberg is great. You in danger, girl. That's an awesome line from that movie. Molly, you in danger, girl. It was great. I say if you've never seen Ghost, go see it just so you can see that line. Molly, you in danger, girl. It's great. And then, of course, the sensual scene when she's doing the pottery wheel.
Oh, the pottery thing. You don't have to have seen it to know that scene.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oft parodied and referred to.
For those who haven't seen Ghost, Patrick Swayze obviously gets killed early in the film, and he's a ghost, and he's trying to warn his wife, that Demi Moore, that she's in danger, basically, because the same person who killed him is going to be after her and all this stuff. Anyway, he learns from this other dead guy that the only way to interact with the physical world is you have to like sort of build up your emotion and your energy and whatever your feelings, and then you can actually like affect change. You know, you can push something or make knock something over or whatever. So he has to learn how to do that. So anyway, that's why I said that is that he got angry and that's when all the stuff started happening. So I don't know if it's something along that or whatever. I don't know. Or I guess like Ben said, he was just showing off or whatever.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that thing before.
As if it's hard fact science.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't know that's how the world works when you're a ghost.
I mean, I hadn't heard that even as a bullshit thing,
Yeah.
Because I've seen lots of movies about ghosts and poltergeists and all that. And I guess some of them, or most of them, have involved like extreme emotions. So maybe that is a thing lurking in the background there.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing behind ghosts and spirits and poltergeists anyway, is that they're the spirit, they died in some weird way or they need revenge or something. It's all sort of emotional based. That's usually why they're even still around. So.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. That's why he was still there, because he needed help save her and stuff. And at the end, not to ruin the movie, but he goes to heaven once he saves her.
Oh, of course he does.
Of course.
Of course he does. Wow.
All Swayzes go to heaven.
So many Swayzes.
What a weird word.
That is a weird word.
Swayze.
Swayze. Yeah.
Your name's what now? You'll never be a star. Change your name, kid. I'm going to make it with my weird last name.
It's probably like Swaza or something like that.
Swaza?
Swaza.
This is like a very posh water. Swaza. Sort of sparkling water from Austria or something. Yes, I would like a glass of Swaza, please.
Swaza. Wow. Yeah, it does. Anyway, I'm curious, back to the real world. Not really, though.
Yeah. The real world of Lost.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm saying the real world. I'm talking about this invisible man who makes stuff
this metaphysical scene. Yeah.
Anyway, back to whatever you call that. I just wonder about this cottage. How did it get there? What's the deal with Jacob? How long has he been there? What is he? What? What?
All right. Well, I just talked to Damon and Carlton, and they gave me all those answers. Here we go, one by one.
All right.
First question: who built the cottage? Jacob. Second question: what is he?
Yeah.
He's cool. Third question. I don't know, dude. I have no answer to those questions. What could he be?
How did he get there? How is he related to the island? Was he a person? Is he a person?
I think maybe he's Magnus Hanzo.
Okay.
I don't know. I really think Jacob has some connection to the Black Rock. They brought they brought the Black Rock up last episode. He's got old-fashioned clothes. He doesn't like technology. I think he has some sort of connection to the original Hostiles and the Black Rock. That's all I can say. That's all I can say at this point. I'm sworn to secrecy.
Not bad. Not bad.
Now, how did he get that way? Was he always sort of imbued with powers? It seems like he's imprisoned somehow. Maybe the ash keeps him there. Like I said, in that little flash we see, he's sort of motionless. So I don't know if he's really can't move or leave that spot. It seems like maybe Ben. It's weird that it would seem that Ben is the one who's imprisoning him, yet Ben takes orders from him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how that relationship really works there.
And I thought his interactions with Jacob were kind of odd. Like, you know, a couple times it seemed like he was addressing him almost like a child.
It was weird when he's like, let me talk. Or no, he said, let me finish. And he wasn't talking to him with the reverence that I thought he should have.
Yeah.
You know, shut up, I can't hear him talk when you're talking, kind of thing.
And like, okay, you've had your fun.
Yeah, okay, you've had your fun. Yeah, blah blah blah.
Like, enough, little boy.
Yeah, it was. It's weird. I don't know what kind of relationship they have. I mean, he definitely respects him and sort of, you know, thinks of him as a great person, but yet talks to him like he's kind of on the same level, if not like above or something. He wasn't. I mean, he pushed Ben, but he wasn't like, Ben didn't really seem scared.
Yeah.
He seemed a little shaken up when he came out, though.
Yeah, he did. And there was that whole thing at the beginning with his hand shaking and, he was, you know, supposedly all scared about going to see him. And of him in general, you know, you don't go to him, he summons you, you know. But when you go see him, you're like, oh, Jacob, you and your craziness.
Yeah. I think that line about, okay, you've had your fun, I think was really just implicating the fact that what was going on was a product of Jacob. Like, they were just telling us that. Like, Jacob is doing this, no doubt about it.
Yeah. But, like, he moved to him and, like, seemed to, like, grab him by the shoulders. You know?
Well, he grabbed the chair. He grabbed the sides of the chair and, you know, sort of got in his face.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird in the beginning anyway when he was, like, standing next to Jacob. Like, he was standing really close to the chair. And it just, like, I'm like, you're really close to him. And, you know, when I watched it again, I was sort of, I didn't really like how they shot that, like, that one sort of low-angle shot when, like, Ben is talking to Jacob and you know, the chair's in the foreground and Ben's sort of in the background, or, like, the middle ground. Ben's eye line is not looking at somebody who would be sitting in that chair. Like, they didn't really shoot that very convincingly, but I just noticed that. Like, he's looking, like, where someone would be sitting in that chair, where their head would be, is not where Ben's looking, but it's kind of hard to get that right when no one's sitting there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Dave episode, you know, in that picture where Dave, like, isn't there, Hurley's got his arm, like, on the chair. Yeah, and in the picture where he is there, you know, or when you see him taking the picture, you know, his arm's actually on Dave and it's not touching the chair. So, you know, I think it's just because nobody was really there, so, you know, it doesn't quite come out right because they're just trying to pretend that somebody's there and they don't quite get it right.
Yeah. I think it is. I think that's one of the biggest questions about this episode is what is the relationship between Ben and Jacob? Like, you know, like that thing when he gets in his face and says, okay, you had your fun. Like, to do that to someone who could potentially kill you in an instant or something. Is really, really strange. You wouldn't want to do that unless you sort of knew they weren't going to harm you or something. Or couldn't harm you. I don't know.
Definitely.
And he doesn't attribute his healing to Jacob. He attributes to Locke.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
That's true. And I have to bring up, now that we've seen Jacob, like, Ben promising that Jacob was going to cure Juliet's sister's cancer.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about that, but it just seems kind of odd now that we've seen him.
Well, we know that 99.9% certainty that he didn't leave the island to go do that.
Yeah.
So how he did it, you know, I think he just has some sort of power that, like, can reach. I don't know. I mean, if it actually was true.
Right.
I guess his power is just far-reaching. You would think something like that would just be, his power would be a product of the island or something, but he's a great man. I don't know.
And Juliet believed that, I mean, that whole thing was weird.
I wonder if the island is hidden because of Jacob. Like, if he's responsible for the island being hidden and, but then there was the whole thing with the incident, right?
Yeah.
What was it, like, the incident made it invisible or something, and then, like, the recent thing with the implosion made it visible again, or are we still fuzzy on that?
No, I think I think it was visible when the incident happened, but invisible other times.
So, but from the beginning, it was visible, and then the incident. Oh, it was invisible in the beginning. Then the incident made it visible.
The incident made it visible for a short time. Yeah.
Okay, and then did Desmond's incident do anything when the plane crashed?
Yeah. Oh wait. Oh, I thought that isn't the incident, is it?
No, the incident's before Desmond.
Shit. So I guess it was visible and then invisible and then yeah. So I guess it was visible before the incident, and then
yeah. Because how else would Darwin have gotten there?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And
so it was visible. Then the incident made it invisible. Maybe. And then the implosion made it visible again.
No, Desmond made it. The Kelvin Desmond incident made it visible for a brief time, and that's when the plane crashed. And then when the hatch imploded, it was made visible again briefly, and that's when the Portuguese scientists saw it.
Well, why do you think it was made visible during the Desmond thing?
Well, the only reason I say that is because that's what Damon and Carlton said.
Oh, okay. But I mean, like, there's nothing in the show that says that.
As far
right?
as the show, yeah, I don't know. But after the season 2 finale, during in the podcast following that, they were talking about, and they basically said that. That the hatch implosion made the island visible, and that's why the Portuguese scientists saw them. And then they said, the island had been visible, one other time before that, and that was when the plane crashed.
Okay.
So, but as far as the show, I don't know why you would think that, but they said it. So.
Oh, but
that's why I say that.
Mhm.
Who knows? Maybe they changed their mind, or I don't know.
So, okay.
Because it seems like the island's still invisible.
Yeah, right? I mean, they said if we leave, we can't come back. I mean, maybe he's lying, but...
Yeah, and Naomi had that whole thing about how, like, all of a sudden there was an island, and, blah, blah, blah.
I thought it was a fool's errand. A weird, old-fashioned thing to say. Like a fool's errand, really?
Wow, Naomi. Wow.
Wow. She's interesting. She's interesting.
A fool's errand. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Probably the British thing. It brings out those odd expressions.
Yeah, I was just looking up the history of the island, and, it talks about Hanzo. And it says he had a crew of 40 men, so I think that's interesting since that's about how many hostile/others there are.
Mhm.
So just put that in our hats.
Okay, that's in my hat now.
Put it in your hat. Hopefully it's not too heavy because you don't want a lot of weight on your head.
Yeah, I guess not.
No, it's bad for your neck.
Bad for your neck. So, what about this?
I like it, whatever it is.
Why does Jacob throw his temper tantrum?
Oh, because John has the flashlight, and Jacob gets upset.
Oh, it was the flashlight.
The flashlight pissed him off.
Like, don't shout out of my face, bitch.
Yeah. You ruined my night vision. Yeah. Something like that. Well, that's the thing. Like when I first saw it, I thought John had put the flashlight down with his backpack, and then when he produced it, I'm like, wait, you put it down, because I thought Ben told you to, but
yeah.
Apparently, Ben just basically said don't use it, and he did, and
yeah. Okay. So the flashlight was the thing.
The flashlight, because right when he flashes the light, everything starts happening right to that instant.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, why? I mean, the only reason is because, maybe Jacob was trying to prove that he was real. I would love to hear what Jacob was telling Ben. Oh my God, that'd be awesome to hear what he was saying during that whole Ben Jacob conversation. But
yeah, that would have been nice.
What was that line? I wrote it down. It was a very strange line.
From some of Ben's conversation, Ben's half of the conversation, you can kind of infer what he's saying.
Yeah, but here's the line that I didn't get. Ben tells Jacob, "I told you he wouldn't." Like what? Well, like I told you he wouldn't be able to see you. I told you he wouldn't.
Yeah.
What? Like I don't even know. Like I told you he wouldn't. Like he wouldn't wait to see you until he was ready, or he wouldn't.
Oh yeah, that too.
He wouldn't. Let's see. I told you he wouldn't. I don't know. Yeah, like you said, the other lines I could kind of tell what Jacob's part of the conversation was, but the "I told you he wouldn't" came out of nowhere.
I guess I thought that was like see you. I told you he wouldn't be able to see you.
But when would he have told Jacob that? And why? Like, Jacob shouldn't have even known Locke was coming.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe he snuck off and saw him at some point before this happened.
And he knew Locke was going to ask to see Jacob?
Yeah.
And Jacob said, if Locke ever comes here, he's not going to be able to see you. And Jacob was like, oh, I don't think that's true. And then Ben was like, I told you so?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, that's silly. That's weird. Oh, that's weird. That's very strange.
Well, I mean, he told him he wouldn't. At some point, he told him he wouldn't something.
Yeah.
So, whatever it is, that's what I feel like it is. It's something along those lines that he wouldn't be able to sense him, or that he.
Why would Jacob not know that?
I don't know. Jacob's crazy.
Jacob does seem crazy. He does seem to know some things, and he's this all-powerful person, but he doesn't know that he's invisible, to some people, and.
Jacob doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. He can't be all-powerful, or the show's in trouble.
Yeah. No, he definitely has to have some limitations, and like I said, it seems like he's imprisoned by that ash or something.
Yeah. But he's got to be powerful enough to be interesting or whatever, so.
It's menacing.
And menacing. So, yeah. So, so I'm going to believe that's what it means, but I don't really, who knows?
All right.
Who knows?
My next little question was, why didn't Ben hear Jacob when he said, help me? And I guess we sort of talked about that, and it was just, I guess, specifically directed to Locke.
Yeah.
Which is still weird. Still weird, yeah. And, why does Jacob need help? Yeah. Well, that's interesting, too, in terms of the whispers, because hasn't there been a scene or two where some people heard the whispers and other people in the same scene didn't? Or am I making that up? I don't think that's happened. Although people usually hear them alone. Like early in season 1 or something, didn't somebody hear them for a second and nobody else? They said did you in early in season 1? Didn't someone hear the whispers and they said, "Do you hear that?" And they hear what? I feel like that happened. Yeah, that might have happened. Maybe when Sawyer heard them. Something like that. The whole pig episode, the boar episode, excuse me. Yeah. Which I think, the whispers appearing in that episode are bullshit. Just FYI, I really don't buy them. It didn't really happen. I just don't think. I think they just put him in there. I don't think that you can do anything with that. That episode was all about Sawyer's problems. Yeah. I don't think. Wait, you mean when he heard the thing the fake Sawyer said? Not that. Oh, okay. I think that was, but he actually heard the signature whispers, the indistinguishable, disembodied voices whispers, that you couldn't hear what they were saying, and and then he heard that. That part I buy, but the actual whispers, being related to this stupid boar and Sawyer's guilt, no way. I don't buy it. Yeah. I don't buy it. That whole thing was weird. Oh, God. When Saeed heard them, I buy it, and when they appeared, when Walt was appearing, and when,
Shannon got shot, and all those times, like, I'll buy. But that Sawyer thing just didn't. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's when it happened, because I remember he got up and he heard the whispers, and then I think somebody might have come over, and maybe that's when, like, you know, they didn't hear it, but he heard it. But I think most times, you know, when they've been in groups, they have all heard the whispers.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering if the whispers have ever been, like, specifically directed to one person, kind of like Jacob's little help me thing.
Yeah.
Now, why did he say help me? You know, the obvious reason is that he's imprisoned or confined somehow, or I mean, why else would you say that?
Well, I don't know. I don't see why he needs help. If he's ordering Ben around, I mean,
maybe Jacob, like, is sort of undead or something, and he wants to die. Like, he's been alive for however hundreds of many years, and he wants to finally die or something.
Oh,
and,
no.
He can't. I know that's lame, but
oh no.
He can't die, and he wants somebody to kill him, and, like, Ben won't do it or something. Are you asleep yet?
I'm getting there. Keep talking.
That's all I got. I don't know. I mean, why else did you say help me?
I'm just like, the thing that kills me is that seems plausible. You know.
Yeah.
I just want to die and go be with my family and all this bullshit. Yeah. Oh, God.
I want to go to that slave trade in the sky.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know, maybe he's not connected with the Black Rock.
Maybe he's not.
Otherwise, it's hard to sympathize with him. If that's what they want us to do, I don't really know. But, like, help me, you know, seems like that's the thing. They love those, like, bullshit stories. I could so see, like, oh, poor Jacob, his soul is trapped.
A lot of times, the really crazy stuff has really simple explanations, like the Roger Workman thing. You know, like, Roger Linus, why is he out there? What is he doing? And how did he die? And it's pretty simple. There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the thing. A lot of times these crazy things have really simple explanations. So it could be something as mundane.
His thing wasn't that bad, though. His thing wasn't that bad because Ben killed him and like left him out there. That's pretty good. Like I like that, but like.
Yeah, but it's still simple, though. You know.
It is simple, but the whole thing of like Jacob wants to be free. Oh God. Oh please. Oh, that just doesn't sound good.
Well, maybe at the end of the series they'll free Jacob, and Jacob will teleport them off the island.
Oh God!
Wouldn't that be a great ender?
Oh God!
Oh no, what's even better is that Sun is giving birth. And she's about to die, but then like she gets teleported off just in time. That's the best series ender ever.
Wow, that's it, huh?
That's it. I just wrote it. Give me some money, ABC. Give me some money.
Oh God! It has that like they like those touching stories.
Yeah.
And I can just see them going for that, and like maybe giving Jacob some kind of background, you know, that he wants to like, you know, rejoin his kids or something, or rejoin his wife, or you know, some bullshit like that.
Yeah, that'd be odd and weird and sad.
Yeah, I really hope that's not it, but man, now I'm ready for it. If it happens. But I guess whatever it is, Locke will have to try to deal with it eventually. Probably not this season.
No.
But at some point, I guess, in the next 3 seasons. Well, I guess we'll find out what that's all about. I don't know.
So the lantern on the that he took from outside, brought inside.
Yeah.
It fell over. The oil spilled, and it was a fire.
Yeah.
And then magically the fire was put out, and the lantern was fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Continuity error or Jacob's power?
The fire being put out, Jacob's power. The lantern, continuity error.
Okay. But you don't think, like, he sort of just, like, poof, fires out and the lantern's fixed and... I mean, it seemed like there was some sort of significance to the lantern. It seemed like some sort of ritual, ceremonial thing, like...
Yeah, it gave it kind of a like, seance kind of vibe.
Yeah.
With putting the lantern in the middle and then expecting the spirit to talk to you.
Yeah, it was definitely odd, and it seemed important that we see him put the lantern back.
Yeah, so maybe he did fix it. I don't know. I don't see why he would care, but maybe he did.
Well, if it's like a special lantern, or I don't know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, but didn't he knock it over?
Well, yeah, technically, I don't know if he knocked it over so much as, like, I think the table rocked or something. I don't know if he specifically, like, go to the floor, you lantern. But, I don't know.
But it seems like he could have prevented it from breaking.
Yeah, but I think they wanted the fire, you know.
Yeah, they wanted the fire.
So they wanted both. Maybe he just fixed it.
It made it dramatic.
It definitely made it dramatic. It was a little extra danger with the fire there. It died with the fire, and So yeah, after this scene, you know, Locke is like, "Oh, I won't be taken by your little show."
Nice try.
Nice try. You can't fool me with your obvious display of paranormal powers.
I'm far too clever for that.
Yeah, that was weird. I'm like, come on, Locke. Like, how could you not believe that? Like, all the things going on in the island, and you don't want to believe that what you saw was real?
Yeah.
Like, come on. That's something I would, you know, Charlie could maybe try to pull off. You know, come on, Locke.
Yeah, I see a lot of people not believing things, but Locke, I mean, come on, man. You're the guy who, like, woke up from the hatch implosion that magically teleported him out and then, like, asked to speak to the island and was granted.
Yeah, and had visions about stuff and...
Stop.
Yeah.
With the, like, rational point of view. It's really not your thing.
It's weird. Like, he seems to be very smart and cunning, but when it comes to certain things, he's just really dumb and stupid, and, like, he just gets an idea in his head and he just believes it without any rational consideration of like, the past and, like, what's really going on and how often he's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, he seems to forget how often he's wrong.
And I think he's very, like, flip-floppy. Like, he will throw himself into faith in the island, like, head first, you know, with no consideration. But then he gets, like, a little bit of doubt, and he's just, like, totally the opposite. Like, nothing. Oh, it's all bullshit. Everything's fake.
Yeah, it's like, I believe in the island 100%. Then he stubs his toe, and he's like, oh, woe is me.
Yeah. It's all, nothing's real. It's all, and nothing, you know, the button's not real. You're not real. Everything's fake. Like, yeah, he's just like...
You're not real? I'm not real. You're not real. None of this is happening. We're all in Hurley's head, who doesn't even exist.
Yeah, he's just like, he's all or nothing, I guess. He's just like 100% committed or 100% like disbelieving. He never is quite like on the fence or like, maybe this is true, maybe it's not, whatever. He's just firmly convinced in whatever he believes at the moment.
Yeah, it's really, really odd.
And in this episode, he was Mr. Skepticism. Like, rewind a few episodes and he'll believe everything. He just...
Yeah. I mean, to see all the stuff break and the fire and all that stuff, and then to presumably see Jacob, and then you walk away and say, like, I won't be taken by your little show.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so strange, Locke. So, all right, are we done with Jacob? You got stuff?
Well, yeah, pretty much. I have a question to ask about Ben and Jacob and, like, history, but it's not really about Jacob specifically.
Okay.
So, but I think I want to talk about that after we talk about the whole Purge thing.
Okay.
Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed that clip. So the next one here is from our podcast about the beginning of the end, the premiere of season 4. And this is us reacting to Hurley seeing the cabin in that episode. This is the one where the cabin moves, and Christian Shepherd is in there infamously, as we discuss here, as well as the eye of Jacob, or whatever that was supposed to be. So enjoy this one.
He was lying about something, so how much of what he said was lying?
Yeah.
You know, it calls everything into question, which I feel like some of it's supposed to be true. But I feel like we're supposed to believe that, even though it doesn't seem plausible to me.
Yeah.
You know, and even though she was like, she was being devious about Claire being sick at the moment, like, I feel like we're still supposed to believe that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah, and I would buy that they would try to do that. You know, they were really interested, you know, I mean, not for just because it's someone else, but for their own sake.
For their own sake, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be about her. Sorry, Claire.
Sorry, Claire. Those bangs are pretty, but,
anymore.
You know.
I don't think Aaron's important anymore either.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised they're still using a real baby. Why don't they just get a doll or something? We won't mind.
No, I don't know the difference.
I won't really care. Just show them all wrapped up all the time, and like no one will know. Like, why are they paying for a real baby? And like seriously, like maybe
you know how much babies cost.
Baby actors are at a premium these days with the economy this way and the writer's strike.
The baby market has been since fourth quarter 2002.
Yeah.
Everyone knows this.
There's never a better time to invest in baby than right now. For a limited time, you too can get into the baby buying market. Okay, now we're like selling babies. All right, only in the Lost Lowdown could you buy some babies. But we stress, babies should only be used for acting. Any other sort of purpose, you know, it's up to you what they do. You know, we can't guarantee any success, but our babies are specially bred for acting.
They're Bactors.
Yes. We also represent some very emotive fetuses. If anyone if anyone's doing a show where you need like a good fetus on a sonogram, you know, we got one that can do tap. Okay, I'm done. I just alienated like 90% of our audience. I've offended everybody.
They will smile for the camera, but I have to warn you.
They have no teeth. Or lips. Oh, that's awful. Wow, that's awful, man. That's awful. That's awful. We went too far with the babies, and we went even further with the fetus. All right.
Oh, God. Oh, that's so creepy. Oh, the fetus smiling at the... Okay. Woo. Anyway.
Yeah.
I agree. And speaking on the same...
So long story short, they should just use a plastic baby.
I agree. In the same general realm, I noticed when I watched the finale that Hurley had Vincent on a leash when they were walking across the island.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just disappeared. I mean, Hurley eventually leaves, but, you know, I don't know.
Well, Hurley went to go get the van, right?
He did, yeah.
I think he, tied Vincent to a tree somewhere.
He just, tied up out there.
Like, I'll come back for you later, dude. And he forgot. I gotta do a cannonball, man. I'm Bart Simpson, dude.
I didn't think he could do a cannonball. I mean, like, on a normal beach.
That's the thing. They found a little cliff thing, a little, like, elevated part.
Yeah.
Because on a normal beach, it's like all you can do is run into the water and jump. It's not really a cannonball.
Yeah, to go out far enough where you can really do a cannonball, you have to get so deep that you can't jump anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, why bother? But yeah, I guess somehow he found what he needed. I guess.
Yeah, he like ran towards it. He knows that beach pretty well.
Yeah.
He knew where to go.
Yeah. But I just wonder, like, what Vincent's supposed to be up to.
Well, we'll find him somewhere doing something, talking to some dead person, I'm sure.
Yeah, I guess so. It's always something.
It's always something with that dog. Okay, so we're back in the jungle. They're Sawyer and that gang are on their way to meet the other Losties. Sawyer asks if Hurley, wants to talk about Charlie, but he's not ready to. And, my question is, why is Sawyer being nice?
Sawyer was being really nice.
Yeah, like, what happened to him?
It was weird.
Because he, emotionally, I mean, he's on the downslope of what's the end of season 3, like, killing Locke's dad.
Yeah, killing the real Sawyer.
Yeah, which was a big thing.
Yeah.
What happened to him after that? And then the stuff on the beach, of course.
Well, that was pretty much it. He went back to save them.
Okay.
And I mean, Hurley had the bus and then or van or whatever, and then
the Hurley mobile.
And then he came over and helped out. He was the one who shot Tom, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, he should be in a pretty like non-usual place.
Yeah, no, I think he is. I mean, he even offered to like go back and help them. I mean, that was kind of weird for Sawyer anyway.
Go back and help who?
To go back and help Jen, Said, and Bernard.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, yeah. By that time, he definitely, yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen a big change in Sawyer,
Yeah.
And maybe,
yeah, they had that whole episode in season 3, where Hurley tricks Sawyer into being nice.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's their leader now, although Jack gets back at the end of the episode.
Yeah, exactly. It's up to you to lead us now, dude. Oh, never mind. Jack's here.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was weird. He made barbecue and the whole thing.
Well, it's a party with Sawyer's president.
It really is. So yeah, I don't know. I guess he has been different.
Yeah. So they. So anyway, Hurley gets left behind, and he stumbles. That's basically what happens. He stumbles upon what looks like Jacob's cabin. This is our first, like, what the fuck moment of the, maybe not the first. One of the big ones.
After some whispers.
Yeah, that's right. After some whispers.
Shocking. The whispers show up.
Yeah. Well, he sees it first, and then he hears the whispers, and then, like, the light inside comes on, and he goes, uh-oh. So that's a big thing, how this, Jacob's cabin sort of just, either it appeared out of, or he just, that's where it was. Somehow he found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does seem to move later, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's, if it has, if it's really there, or if it moves, or if it can move if it wants, but it's usually in one place, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the deal is.
We'll talk about it.
The location looked different.
Didn't the building look different?
The building looked different too. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a different building.
It definitely looked different.
I thought it was a different building.
Yeah. It's supposed to be the same, but it doesn't look the same.
I thought it was like, I saw that and I'm like, well, maybe it was just the angles, because when they showed the first one, like, it had some weird angles on it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I thought it looked like I'm like, wow, are there like people living out here? And he just, there's 2 cabins out here, like,
yeah.
And there's like some old people or something living there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's supposed to be the same. So
it is. They just, I don't know. I don't know what happened. If they made a different set or whatever, but it doesn't look the same.
No. Okay, so the next, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
When the big stuff happens.
Yeah, this was just a teaser.
A little teaser. So the next scene is Jack, Danielle, and Ben trying to track Naomi. They discover her blood trail ends. So what happens now? I can't tell what my notes say. Oh, so yeah, so basically Ben tells Jack that Kate took the walkie and she found the right trail. But of course the bright side is at least someone knows what they're doing, which is a nice little, jab at Jack. And then of course we get proof of this. The next scene, Kate's in the jungle following the blood trail. And the satellite phone rings. Minkowski asks, for Naomi, and Kate says that they're looking for her, which is true.
It is true.
And he says, "What do you mean looking for her?" And of course, when in doubt, hang up.
Yeah.
She hangs up the phone.
What?
Why aren't they faster thinkers? Why can't they come up with something to say like? Yeah, we're looking for her because she went to go get firewood earlier, and she doesn't know this area or something. I don't know. They'll just hang up. At least say, "Huh." What? Where's who now? You're breaking up. See, they don't even fake it either. They don't fake I'm losing the signal. Oh.
No, he didn't even try. Just click.
It's funny. It's funny because, they kind of had this duality with Kate and Jack, and she kind of did everything right, but she got to the sort of same point as Jack, and, with him asking questions on the phone, and she just did what he did and hung up. She was like, oh, shit, I don't know. So then suddenly Naomi crashes down on Kate from a tree. Because, and it's just not only did she get stabbed in the back, but she crawls herself out into the jungle, creates a fake blood trail, doubles back, and goes a different way, and then climbs up a tree.
Yeah.
No wonder she's dead after she falls.
Yeah.
She expended herself way too much. She could have lived another, 20 hours if she would have, rested. But she just, I couldn't believe she did all that. She climbed a tree. With the knife wound in the back. That's gotta hurt. You need your back muscles.
Yeah, you do.
Ugh. Anyway, so she falls down on Kate, and Kate tells Naomi that it was Locke who attacked her, not them, and she gives Locke the phone, and Naomi talks to Minkowski, and she covers for them. She changes the tracking frequency as he asked her to, and then she says, sorry, George, just tell my sister that I love her, which is the last Naomi mystery. She can't die without leaving a mystery, folks.
That's right.
Gotta love that on Lost.
You do.
So I guess we can talk. I mean, do you have any ideas about what this whole sister idea is? Because I have one idea.
Well, presumably we'll see this person. But as far as who they are or what they'll do, you mean, or? No. What do you got?
Well, all I have is that maybe that line is code for something.
Oh, one of those
things. Just tell my sister I love her. Yeah. Maybe that's code, that means something to Minkowski, these people are dangerous or be careful or anything like that,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just took it at face value, but yeah, it could be that.
Yeah. We'll see.
But yeah, we'll see.
It could be just face value, but I wonder But I would imagine that if it is a face value, we will see the sister, and what does that even mean? Like, why are they setting up a sister? You know?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't.
I hope it's not just tell my sister I love her, and we'll never hear about a sister, and like it'll just be her saying that because she just has a sister that we never see.
And that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be bad.
That would be weird. It seems I would guess they included that for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to believe that at least. So yeah, I think either a character or code sounds plausible to me. I think I don't know what to think. I'm gonna go with what I thought, I guess. I'm gonna go with that she meant it.
I can totally see a scene with like, you know, Jack figures out Minkowski like knows what happened to Naomi, and he's like, How did you know? You know, and he's like, she told me about her sister, which is code for whatever. And you know, those scenes where they just like explain everything.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Next scene, Hurley goes. This is a continuation from the previous one where the cabin appears, or Hurley stumbles upon it. Hurley goes up to the cabin and he sees a table with a lantern on it and a painting of a dog. You know, the stuff we've seen before in Jacob's cabin.
Remember, yeah.
Then he sees a rocking chair, and in that rocking chair is Jacob, who, by the way, was wearing white tennis shoes, which is not the garb I expected Jacob to wear. They looked like orthopedic tennis shoes.
Well, here's what I have to say about that. I don't think that's Jacob.
You don't think it's Jacob?
No.
Okay. The face to me looked like Jacob, but like everything else, I was like, why is this person wearing that?
The guy in the chair was John Terry.
Was who?
John Terry. The guy who played
John Terry.
Shepard.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Is that like a spoiler thing?
It's not a spoiler per se. I mean, his name was in the credits, and if you look at some screen captures, especially from they did a promo for the episode where you can clearly tell it's him. For some reason, in the version that aired, he's blurrier, but if you compare the two, it's clear that's who that is.
Oh, okay. So it's Christian in the cabin, and then someone comes up to the window. We see someone's eye.
Yeah, now that, I think, is Jacob.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and here's why.
Okay.
In The Man Behind the Curtain, once Jacob starts doing his thing, there's the shot of him in the chair, yes, but there's also a shot of an eye that they cut to briefly during that debacle. And if you listen to the commentary, Damon or Carlton, I think Damon tells you that's Jacob's eye, and it's a similar shot.
Okay.
So I think that's who that's supposed to be, and so I don't know. So the picture I have in my head is Smokey and Jacob like hanging out in his cabin.
Yeah. The question is, I guess. That all makes sense to me. The question, I guess, is why, if that is Smokey, why is he in Christian's form?
Yeah, that is a question.
You know, and I think obviously this is is to be expected considering the last mobisode.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so now we know why they showed us that, because they were definitely picking up on that, which I think bodes well for other things in the mobisodes that we want to see more of.
That's true.
Okay, so we got Christian in the. Okay, that's really crazy.
It is.
You know, this whole thing makes me feel like Christian is somehow different than Smokey.
Yeah, he might be.
I don't know.
He might
It's
be.
making me rethink the whole Smokey thing, because I just don't picture something thrashing through the jungle as a cloud of smoke, also hanging around, you know, in like this human form. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
Yeah.
I think there's something else going on.
It is
there.
weird. It is weird. It's weird for it to hang around at all, but I mean, if it's not Smokey, I don't know what it is.
I mean, unless like there's some sort of thing where I wonder, could there be multiple Smokies? Like maybe
there could be.
Maybe like Christian is a Smokey, and like all the, you know what I mean? Like they can look like that. The Smokey that we've seen, like, you know, kill people and do stuff, maybe like a different one or something, or like, you know.
There was that whole thing in the Echo episode from season 3 about where Locke is talking to him, and he refers to the famous season 1 bit where he sees Smokey. You know, we see him see Smokey from Smokey's perspective, I guess, and he's talking to Echo about it, and he describes it as like a bright light or something, and Echo's like, that's not what I saw, and that at the time that sparked a lot of theories about like two Smokies, like a good one and a bad one or something like that. Which might tie in with Christian being like helpful in the Mobisode. Unlike the other Smokey, who doesn't seem to be very helpful.
And it could tie in with, remember that time in season 1 when Smokey tried to take Locke in the hole?
Yeah.
That could have been the good one. Because Locke said it, you know, wasn't going to hurt him. He felt it wasn't going to hurt him.
That's true.
But for what? It's like, but that didn't make any sense either. I mean, that doesn't really add up. Because it's not like Smokey really tried to get him later, or like, you know.
Yeah.
That never really went anywhere.
No, I know. I don't know what he was doing during that time.
The only other thing I can think is like somehow these ghosts manifest themselves on the island, and they're not really Smokey. Like Smokey is something else.
Yeah,
and
now
they're just
the
their
scene
own
with
thing.
Charlie later is a nod.
Oh yeah, talk about that.
A nod in that direction.
Yeah.
Of a dead person appearing and not necessarily being Smokey. So that's a possibility too, I guess. See, now there's too many things at play. God,
Yeah, so that means that, like, I mean, that calls into question a lot of things.
It does.
But I don't know what else to do. It just doesn't seem like it all can be Smokey.
The Whispers are not the others.
Not the others, no. It's the Whispers have something to do with Jacob, obviously.
I think we got to just put that to rest now, because...
No, that's... Yeah, they're definitely not the others.
I think we already knew that, but like...
Yeah, we already knew that it wasn't... It really... I mean, that they could be connected to it, but I think it's just in terms of how they're connected to Jacob.
Yeah. It's, for a while, it seemed like it was all them, like, they were... It was coinciding with appearances of the others. But that hasn't happened. It didn't happen in this case.
No, unless, yeah.
I mean, I don't think there were really any others in that area. So, but the others are connected to Jacob somehow. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, at least through Ben.
At least through Ben.
So there's still a lot of questions about this scene.
Yeah, that's true.
When I guess, let's see, and then the next part of the scene, of course, someone steps through the window. It's probably Jacob. And Hurley runs away screaming, "Help!" The cabin shows up, in the other direction behind him, and the door opens this time. Hurley closes his eyes and screams, that nothing is there, and then, then Locke appears, actually. So, I guess my question is, did Hurley just stumble upon the cabin, or did it specifically come to find him?
It is a question. Sorry.
Is it? Okay, good. That's what I wanted.
That's not what I meant to say.
That's a question. You didn't say it like that?
No.
Oh, okay. That's a spicy meatball.
Yeah, that's the key thing. I as I sit here, I start to worry a little bit that this is like the Walt stuff. Where they're just like fucking with us to no purpose.
Yeah.
It was a cool little sequence, but I do worry slightly that it doesn't necessarily have much meaning or importance. But I can't imagine. Although, based on the flash forward, Yeah,
I think that's where the evidence is.
Yeah.
I think because they did the same thing where, Hurley learns out Charlie's dead. In the future, Charlie's back.
Yeah.
And I think in this one, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of her. The Flash on the island. It's the beginning of whatever we hear about in the future. This Hurley needing to go help them.
Right.
And whatever he regrets about what he did on the island and stuff like that. So it seems like that's where it's leading. Like, Jacob is coming to try to find Hurley for some reason, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
I wouldn't believe that were possible if it weren't for the flash forward. But if it weren't for that, I would think he stumbled on it or something like that.
And it's just like, why would why would it look like Christian? I don't even know what to call it anymore. I don't want to call it Smokey because I'm not sure it is.
I'm not either. I don't know.
To Hurley, that's so weird. And why did Jacob look in the window like that?
I know.
Did you know you're gonna scare him away?
I have to. That was such a Japanese horror shot. When he rises up from the window and they cut to the shot of the eye. That was a real. That was a Japanese horror shot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Classic. Just kind of appearing somewhere and then a shot of an eye. It's just, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it was crazy. So.
But yeah, I don't know if Jacob is trying to it did. He didn't do anything. Whatever did was appear.
Yeah.
If he really wanted to tell Hurley something, he failed. He didn't.
Well, it seems like Locke showed up and either ruined it or.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
so.
And part of me was wondering if Locke had something to do with that place.
Yeah. There are those who believe that the eye was Locke's.
Somehow Locke was in there and
hanging out. I don't know, but after last season, Walt appears and whoever Walt was supposed to be, I don't know.
I wonder if it was something. I don't really like this idea. But what if, Locke said after he, tried to kill Naomi and Jack didn't listen to him, he was going to go find the rest of the gang to come back for help, to convince, to help convince Jack of what to do. But what if Locke went to Jacob's? What if he I'm trying to think of some way where he didn't know where they were. And in particular, he wanted to find Hurley, and so Jacob brought him to Hurley. So when the door opens, Locke comes out of it or something.
Oh.
Yeah,
they do make it a point of showing the door opening, and then Locke appears shortly after that. So.
Yeah, so I don't know if Jacob somehow could transport him where Hurley was, or I don't know, or.
It's possible.
Yeah, I don't know which way to go with that, but. And that's the thing. Like I don't really want the guy in the window to be Jacob because I'm like, why is Hurley seeing Jacob?
Mhm.
Yeah,
it makes it seem
Locke
like
barely saw Jacob.
Like, I know it was a big deal, and he didn't see him at first. And, man, I wanted to say something about that scene when I watched that because, in the seemingly imaginary conversation that Ben and Jacob have, like there's something about that I wanted to bring up, but I don't remember what it was.
Cool.
Yeah, sorry, that's not that helpful.
Hello, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that one. So as you probably noticed, we tend to wander a bit from the central point, but we should be talking about the cabin quite a bit in each of these clips. Anyway, this next one is from the infamous Season 4 episode, Cabin Fever. This first clip is the two of us reacting to the Horace dream that Locke has, where he sees Horace building the cabin, and this ends up spinning off into a bit of a discussion about Dharma and the timeline of the Purge and stuff like that, which isn't strictly relevant, but it's kind of a fun ride, so enjoy.
We have a close-up on Locke's eye as he wakes up to the sounds of an axe chopping wood. He looks around and sees that Hurley and Ben are still sleeping. He walks towards the sounds and finds a man chopping down trees, and this guy is wearing a Dharma uniform. The man introduces himself as Horace and tells Locke that he's building a place for him and his wife, that sometimes there's need for a break from the Dharma initiative, and he tells Locke that he's been dead for 12 years. Then Horace goes over and pushes down another tree, and everything sort of seems to have reset itself, like it's in a loop. And he, says hello again and all that. And let's see. Then he tells John that he has to find him, and that when you do, Horace tells John that he needs to find him, and that when he does, he'll find Jacob. And that Jacob's been waiting for him for a long time, and then, he tells him his name, I'm Horace, and then he pushes over another tree and wishes John Godspeed. And I guess I'll finish the next part. Or should we? It's kind of connected. So then Locke wakes up, and we realize it's a dream, and he goes over to Hurley and wakes him up, and tells him that he knows where they need to go now. And it's obvious that he had a dream, and Ben tells John that he used to have dreams, and that's the scene.
All right. So this is another one of those. Let's move the plot forward by giving someone a dream things.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done that in a while. So about this dream. So Horace. I'm sure everyone remembers was fairly prominently featured in Man Behind the Curtain last season.
Mm-hmm.
He was there when they Ben and his dad arrived, and he was the one who picked up Ben's parents, by the side of the road. When he was born in like the Portland area, I guess. So I don't know. It was weird to see that guy again. I guess he died in the Purge. We see him, I think, sitting on a bench, sort of slumped over. I think with a nosebleed along the lines of what we see in this scene. So I have a number of questions about this scene. I don't know where to start. I guess I can start with he says sometimes you need a break from the Dharma Initiative, and then he's like, I'm not making sense, am I? And Locke says no. And I'm just like, well, come on, Locke. You know what the Dharma Initiative is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not speaking Greek to you. Like, this is something you're quite familiar with. Like, you spent a shitload of time in one of their things. You've seen multiple orientation films. You've messed around with their stuff for the last 2 seasons. Like, this shouldn't be something that you're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're just talking crazy. Like,
I thought he meant more of the need to take a break from the Dharma Initiative. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. When I first watched it, I thought he was saying, like, oh, what's the Dharma Initiative? Never heard of that.
Yeah.
But I think he meant more about the need to take a break from it, because Locke shouldn't know what it entails to really work for the Dharma Initiative. So he wouldn't know. Like, he's not making sense in that sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if he just mentioned the Dharma Initiative and he says, I'm not making sense, am I? That would be weird. But I think it's more about, the fact that he's out there building a cabin and all that doesn't really make sense to John.
Okay. Well, I'll agree with him there. Okay, another thing about this scene, like, it's just, to me, it's just not, I just don't think it's very good when he says, that's probably because I've been dead for 12 years, and he turns around, he's got a nosebleed. Like, I feel like they're going for a kind of creepy vibe here, and
it wasn't creepy.
It just isn't at all. Like,
yeah,
they're not selling it to me.
Yeah.
And this is one of those scenes that, like, I feel like should be more effective than it is.
I think anyone who doesn't remember who this guy is might be creeped out by his revelation that he's been dead for 12 years. But, obviously I try to give the benefit of the doubt here, but I think I'm even hard-pressed because I feel like most people at this point know that apparitions are bound to show up. And I think, anytime you see someone you don't know doing something weird, you got to ask yourself, is this person even real?
Mm-hmm.
But I think, if you didn't, because I recognized him, and I think astute viewers recognized him.
He's recognizable.
Yeah, he's recognizable, and I think the first clue that this was a dream was the fact that Locke was the only one who woke up.
Yeah.
I thought, like, really, you're the only one who hears this? Like, I know Hurley's probably on edge and anxious. There's people coming to kill them. All this stuff. He's sleeping next to Ben, who has been trying to kill. So I'm like, really? There's axe chopping in the woods and no one else wakes up? I don't believe that. So that was kind of really the first clue that it was a dream anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were kind of going for a creepy thing, and I think it was sort of not really well done. And I don't know if it's just because it's predicated on people not really knowing what's going on. But I feel like they should have sort of tried to do it some other way. I don't know, because it's just when he says, "Oh, because I'm dead for 12 years." That was like the least, shocking thing ever.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like, of course you're dead. We saw you die. Like, I know you're dead. Tell me something I don't. And then he he turns his head for no apparent reason and then turns back around and now he's got a nosebleed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the kind of thing we've all seen before, and it usually works when we don't know that the guy's already dead.
Yeah.
But we already know he's dead, so this is not a revelation. So it just is weird.
Yeah. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the fact that I saw him a lot and I knew that he was dead already, and yeah, I can see that. But I still feel like even if you didn't know, I feel like their presentation is weak.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like it should have. Yeah, I don't know.
He just, a lot of times when they turn around, like, he just got this little nosebleed, which I guess could be creepy, but somehow they're just, I don't know if they need better music or just a better setup or something, but like it's just not, I don't know.
The nosebleed itself is pretty weak.
Yeah, it's not very effective. And yeah, they have done stuff like that before, but I don't know. I want a scene like this to like really get to me, and it just doesn't, and that just frustrates me.
Well, this scene, I think, I kind of feel like I don't really like this little plot line here that Locke has to go and find his dead body just to find the like blueprint. It's like, why can't the island just tell him where the cabin is? What's with all this? You got to do this in order to get that thing. I just don't understand. Like what's the point of that? What's the point of putting these people through all of these like puzzles and like these little mysteries when it's like, if you can communicate, why not? And why through Horace? Why is Horace even in this?
Yeah.
Why is he? I mean, obviously, he's the one who built the cabin, but first of all, why?
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
Why did he do that? But I'm frustrated with scenes like this, and you got to go find this Locke, and then that'll lead you to this, and that'll lead you to that, and it's like, if Jacob is the one who, wants to meet him, how come Jacob is not the one coming to him and presenting himself and telling him what to do? And he didn't even meet Jacob.
No, of course not. Why would he?
Why would he?
Yeah, I agree. In general, like, supernatural entities tend to want to, like, speak in riddles and not lead people straight to the thing when it seems like they could have. I think a lot of times that's more interesting, but it does just seem contrived.
Well, at this point, I mean, it's interesting in the beginning when it seems like, that's the only way it can happen or that there's some reason for it. But when it's just, but I feel like this is just contrived. Like, go find the guy who built the cabin. And why would his blueprint tell, where it is anyway? It's not like it was a map of a location to the place. It was a blueprint of the place. Why would that lead him to where the cabin was? Unless the blueprint had a location on it. Which
I thought it did have some kind of map on it.
I saw. I mean, it was a blueprint. Blueprints don't usually have maps.
But that stuff on the right side.
To me, that just looked like a blueprint of the cabin, dimensions and stuff.
No, I wish I could get a look at it. I think that's the. Of course, it's not here. Why would it be here? Let me see if I can. I think that's the first.
Oh, you're right. It did. I remember they had another shot, I think, when he looked at it later, where it did have a location. That's right. I remember that now.
Oh, okay.
It did actually have a map on it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it had the map on it. That's what they looked at.
Okay. I still find it implausible. In a lot of ways. The idea that Horace built Jacob's cabin is, I mean, that means a lot of things. That means that the cabin can't be that old. And it also means that it was just constructed in a normal way. I mean, I think Horace was a regular person.
Well, I think that's what they're going for. I think they're going for this idea that, regular people, because if you see people on the island obviously sort of die or something and become apparitions, and the same thing kind of happened with the cabin where it was just a normal cabin and now, for whatever reason, it can teleport and stuff.
Yeah, but it makes me wonder about Jacob, like when did that become Jacob's cabin? When did... how long has Jacob been around, and why did he take Horace's cabin? I mean, there's plenty of places on the island. I mean,
maybe he didn't take it. I mean, maybe Jacob really is somewhere else. I mean, we didn't see him in the cabin in this episode. Maybe he meets Ben there sometimes. That's their meeting spot or something. And maybe the whole idea of Ben trapping Jacob. Maybe he trapped him there. But maybe that really just wasn't Jacob's cabin. Maybe Jacob is stays somewhere else.
Okay. All right. I mean, yeah, he was there in the Man Behind the Curtain, and we did have it kind of moving around when Hurley saw it at the beginning of the season. So there seems to be some kind of supernatural quality to the cabin. That it's moving. locations. So at some point it acquired this quality. When it wasn't built that way. Like I just always had the impression it was the cabin was an apparition. As much as Jacob or Christian or whatever is.
Yeah.
And it's just bizarre to me that it was built recently. And to me, if Horace can build this cabin that turns into that thing, I mean, I don't know. That really just doesn't go in line with what I thought was going on here.
Well, maybe, I mean, think about it this way. Horace apparently died with the blueprint in his pocket. How finished could the cabin have been if he's still carrying around the blueprint? That's my question. Maybe he never finished it.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really know how far he got along before
he
was killed. So it could be that, this idea of the cabin is really an apparition, like the same way, the idea of Christian or Yimmy or whatever, they are apparitions too. I don't know. I don't know if he finished the cabin or not. Echo didn't finish his church, so.
Oh God, yeah. I hope that doesn't become a thing.
And they didn't finish the statue they built, or maybe got, or something. But
statue, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe this island they don't finish things here. But yeah, I would guess that, I don't know, but it seems weird to me that he would have this blueprint in his pocket if he was just he had been done with it for a long time. Yeah.
I mean, that day he died. I think he was just sitting on a bench.
Yeah, he was sitting on a bench.
I really don't. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that he just had. But yeah, I guess if he was working on it right then, at that time, all right. So maybe he was carrying it around. Anytime they go back, to a place they were before and find new things there, it always, I know that can happen. It just, I don't know. When they went back to the medical station and they found the secret room there, I don't know. It always, when they went back to the pearl station and they got the feed from the flame, and I don't know. I don't know. It always plays weird to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not what I would have expected.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected it either. Why would, unless Jacob, see, that's the thing, we don't know what Jacob is. He may not have ever been a real person that could have even built a cabin, I don't know what he is. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Depending on what he is, I think this might give us a clue, too, about what he is and what he's capable of by the mere fact he didn't build his own cabin,
Yeah.
And it makes you question, the picture of the dog, it makes you question, is that supposed to be Horace's dog?
Yeah,
or is that, what's that
the stuff that's in there, yeah. If there's a picture in there, I would guess that he finished the cabin. If the picture's supposed to be his. Because I wouldn't think he would put, stuff like that, furniture in there until, it was finished.
Where do you even get the furniture?
Well,
I guess some of that stuff could be made, and it's mostly wooden furniture.
Yeah, it's pretty basic stuff. I would wonder where he got the painting. I guess, I don't know. Maybe it was a Dharma thing. I know Ben had a painting of something in his house. Maybe they just ordered it or something. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that painting. Did they show it again in this episode?
I don't remember seeing it.
I don't either. Okay. Okay, so the other issue that just has to be brought up, and sadly, is I've been dead 12 years. What that means for the timeline.
All right.
If he's been dead for 12 years, then that means, if it's 12 years from the time that he says that statement, then that means that Alex was kidnapped 4 years before the purge. Which,
Which means Rousseau landed on the island when Dharma was in full swing.
Yeah. But I'm not as worried about that as I am about how Ben managed to kidnap Alex before, 4 years before the Purge.
What do you mean?
Well, he was apparently still just living in the barracks, with his dad when the Purge happened. Like 4 years before that, he couldn't have just had a kid, I don't think, without some kind of explanation.
Well, and that's what I mean. Like if Dharma was around, not only when Rousseau got there, but when he took Alex, or when Alex was taken, that might mean they knew about it and they may have had something to do with it. Because I don't know how he would have a kid either, and just
I mean, they certainly didn't show him having her. I mean,
here's the thing about the 12 years, though, real quick. They made it a point that Horace is on this sort of loop. So who knows how long, if that's supposed to be 12 years from then or 12 years from, when he, I don't even know what.
Recorded the dream loop or something?
When he first started working on the cabin, that's the point. And somehow, I don't know how that would even work. But.
So he started working on the cabin after he was dead?
Well, not after he was dead, but he started working on the cabin 12 years ago, and then, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense, I guess. But, I mean, it would be basically the way to think about it is, like you said, if this is a loop, then when was the message recorded?
Yeah.
And could anyone, is John the only one who could have gotten this dream? I mean, they make it seem like he's the chosen one, but it didn't seem like that was always the case.
And that's the thing, he does address himself specifically to Locke at a certain point. I don't feel like that's part of the loop. So.
But it's like, why even loop? I don't understand why it loops in the first place.
I don't understand that either.
It seems like if he's just coming to him in a dream, then there's no need for the loop.
Yeah.
And the fact that there is a loop is what makes me think that we can't really just take everything he's saying for face value. Because I feel like, what if, I mean, obviously Locke wouldn't have this dream, later at this point in the story, but if he did, would it still say 12 years, or would it say 14 years, or, would it say, I don't know how to reconcile that, but I think it's strange that it's in a loop. Because to me, 12 years doesn't, 12 years is weird.
Yeah.
It makes it seem too close.
Based on, exactly. It's a lot sooner than I thought the Purge was supposed to be. And so basically I agree with you. What I'm inclined to say is that 12 years is not right somehow. Maybe he's right to say it, and maybe the explanation is that he recorded this, whatever that means, at a time when he was dead for 12 years. 12 years after the Purge, whenever that was.
Because 12 from 2004 is that, what's that?
92.
And when did what's his name get on there? Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Because he came after the war, right?
He was in the he was supposed to be in the first Gulf War, which was like 91. So it would have to be after that. That leaves very little time, really.
Because
I guess Kelvin himself presents a problem for the Purge being before Danielle. I hadn't really thought about that. So that problem was already there.
Yeah.
Because if Dharma recruited Kelvin, then it would have to be after around 90, 91 or so. Or 90. I'm not sure exactly what year it was. It was one of those two. Then they might. I mean, they should have still been going if they were recruiting. They shouldn't. And he went there. He ended up in a hatch. I mean, presumably they weren't all dead when he arrived.
I mean, it could be that it was just very soon after he got there. That
but that still puts it at about 12 years, and the Rousseau thing just seems weird.
Mhm.
You know, are we supposed to believe that so Dharma was there, and the others took her baby, and they took care of it for a while, and then when Ben joined them, then he started taking care of her, something like that?
It could be. It could be that they knew about her. You know, presumably, you know, Ben is just working some humdrum job with Dharma and living in the barracks, and it could be, you know, whenever he makes contact with the others again, you know, as an adult or whatever, that they tell him about Rousseau and that, you know, you need to get this baby for us or something and deliver it to us or help us with it or something. Or it seems weird to me that someone else would have raised Alex for 4 years and then Ben comes into the picture to finish the job.
Yeah, me too. And that's why the timeline is troubling me. I thought this episode was doing it, but Kelvin is enough to have a problem.
Mhm.
So this, I mean, actually, Calvin's timeline would line up pretty well if he joined the Dharma Initiative shortly before the purge. Like, it would work.
Yeah, because he was, you know, and that would explain, you know, I think you could even help explain the whole quarantine thing. If the whole island was doused with toxic gas, you know, that's a good reason for him to stay put.
Yeah.
You know, and a reason why he survived, and a reason why everything fell apart very quickly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The whole thing with Rousseau is sort of strange, and, you know, one of the major characters' backstory we've never seen yet, and we might not ever see. I don't know, but it makes it very strange. So this whole thing about the purge being 12 years ago is strange. That means that Dharma ran from was it the late 70s or mid 70s?
Yeah, it was. It was the 70s. I'm not sure.
Okay. But yeah, in the 70s until the early 90s, which is a lot longer than I thought they were around.
Oh, really? How long did you... Oh, when did you think the purge... I guess I did, too. The purge was earlier.
Mhm. Yeah, I thought the purge was early. I guess I wasn't thinking about Kelvin.
Yeah.
And how he fit into it.
I wasn't either. I completely discounted Kelvin, but that it makes. I mean, yeah. There's always a chance that one of these things are wrong, or just an inconsistency. Whatever the difference there is. But yeah, I agree. I thought it was. I thought it was an older event.
Mhm.
I also wonder what the incident was. I mean, we haven't talked about that in a few years.
We certainly haven't.
If you remember that, you know, that whole thing about the incident, it was thought for a while that the incident was the purge. I mean, before anyone knew what the purge was. That's not what I mean. Before anyone knew, before they had depicted the purge in the show, I think a lot of people thought that was the incident. Because they didn't really know what the purge was, and so they could sort of make that the incident and have it make sense. The purge being the end of the Dharma Initiative, it's unlikely to me that that's the incident.
Well, and there were multiple incidents too, right? I mean, that's part of the problem. From the Blastar map, I remember, weren't there 2 incidents? There
were multiple incidents.
There was the first incident.
I guess I'm trying to refer to, I think, what Marvin Candle says in the orientation film.
The reason that they needed to do the Swan Station.
Yeah.
That incident.
That incident. Yeah.
I think that incident. Yeah, I think that incident. I mean, obviously that couldn't be the purge.
Yeah.
Because that would mean that the death of Dharma was the reason to create the Swan Station. That doesn't make any sense. I think the incident is really just specific to the electromagnetism.
Okay, yeah,
and
that's
it's
right.
specific to the Swan Station.
That's what it's. Okay, yeah. All right, I forgot. That's what it's supposed to be. That they were messing around with the electromagnetic properties, and they did something.
Oops.
Yeah, they did a whoopsie, and that was their fix.
Yeah.
Temporary fix, I guess. Okay. All right. I just felt compelled to bring that up.
Yeah, this says that I'm looking on Lostpedia, and it says Dharma was founded in 1970.
Okay.
And apparently lost its funding in 1987. But the truth of this is uncertain.
Where'd they get that from?
I think that's from the Lost experience.
Okay, see.
So, yeah.
Some of that stuff may be real, but I'm inclined to not believe any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because it's hard enough to like make the stuff in the actual show work. I don't need more facts.
Yeah. So I don't know what to do about this timeline, this whole 12 years thing.
That's the thing. If Kelvin, the Kelvin plot tells us that the Purge pretty much has to be no more than 12 years ago. So I'm inclined to say he's right.
Yeah, that's the thing. I like I said, I think they make a valid effort to keep all the Lost fans on the right track, and it would be weird to me that they would have this guy say he's been dead for 12 years, but that's not really true.
Mhm.
Because people are going to believe that that's true and use it as a point in the timeline.
Yeah.
So I think it's just weird, but 12 years.
Yeah. So the problem is somewhere in Rousseau's story. The Rousseau story is working in a way that I don't think I envisioned.
Mhm.
And so I think that's it's weird. Like she came and she was talking about the Whisperers and the others, and really there were these other, there were two groups of people. There was another group of people besides the others who she shouldn't have viewed that way. I mean, the Dharma Initiative, essentially we're scientists like herself, and she shouldn't have been like terrified of them.
Yeah.
If she encountered them.
Here's the thing. Well, she was probably affected by the sickness, maybe.
Oh, there's that, yeah.
But Lostpedia says that Kelvin joined Dharma sometime between 91 and 2001. So that's a big window.
That's a safe bet.
But now that we know that the Purge was 12 years ago, I think that limits that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Before we knew when the Purge was, I guess they say 2001 because maybe we knew that. From 3 years. From 2004 to 2001,
yeah.
The only three I can think of is Desmond.
That's when Desmond arrived.
Yeah, so we knew that,
he was there by
obviously he was there by then,
yeah.
So that's probably why.
That's the only confirmation we have about him, I guess, being on, how early he was on the island.
Yeah.
So that's probably why they said that. But, yeah, now, knowing the date of the Purge, I mean, it pretty much has to be earlier than the Purge, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It would be weird. I mean, maybe, the Purge happened. I just can't buy this. Maybe the Purge happened and they recruited people not knowing that it had happened yet. Dharma people that weren't on the island.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that could be it. I mean, it would be I feel like it would make more sense, because Rosinski is the one who kind of, was his partner and stuff.
Rosinski.
Yeah, that's a name we don't say enough because there's no talking about him. But yeah, that's the thing. Rosinski, I believe the story was Rosinski had a partner, didn't he? Didn't he have somebody before Kelvin? He would have had to. I mean, they were supposed to be two.
Yeah. He should have.
And it probably was the case that Kelvin was, the replacement for whoever, Rosinski's partner was, and that was and shortly thereafter the Purge happened. Mm-hmm. And maybe Rosinski knew about the Purge, because the same way Kelvin lied to Desmond about not being able to go outside without the suit and stuff, Rosinski may have done that to him. And that also could be why Rosinski was doing the blast door map. Because maybe, I mean, that explains the question we had, I think, a long time ago during, lockdown, was why would someone working for Dharma, need to do this if they, and obviously the answer back then was maybe they didn't have access to that information.
Mm-hmm.
But if all of Dharma's dead and he kind of knows that, and Rosinski knows that Dharma's dead, this is post-purge, then I can see him sort of secretly trekking out to map where things are and try to find information and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it makes more sense. Like, trying to imagine Dharma up and running and him doing this, like, it just seemed odd, like, that he's just, doing this side project of kind of mapping all Dharma. But yeah, post-purge, it seems more plausible.
And it explains why even though that there's cameras in the Swan, no one sort of stopped them from doing this thing, because they, the whole thing with initiating the lockdown so they could draw on the blast door and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, if he was secretly finding out information about Dharma that they didn't want him to know, they have cameras and they could have presumably saw that.
Mm-hmm.
They could have seen that. But since they were probably dead at the time, that's why.
Yeah. Okay.
So that all kind of makes sense.
That's good. And really, I mean, that's a long. If they, if they were really, if Kelvin and Rosinski were in the Swan when the purge happened 12 years ago, I mean, they were in there a long time. At least Kelvin was in there a long time before Desmond showed up.
Yeah.
I mean, that means he was there like, like 9 years?
9 years.
I mean, that's all, like, pushing that button for 9 years?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, that's madness. At least when Desmond was there, like, Kelvin was there most of the time. Desmond could barely make it a few months by himself without, being ready to kill himself.
And Rosinski killed himself.
Yeah.
So he couldn't take it that much either, obviously.
Yeah.
Kelvin is a military guy. He could have just had a stronger mental, will or something to sort of do that. And obviously, he kind of loses it. He gets a little crazy.
Yeah, a little bit. And he did try to leave as soon as possible.
Yeah, exactly. He's a military man, not stupid.
Yeah. I just, like, that would just be a rough life. I mean, especially after Rosinski dies. Like, you're just, I mean, whatever that was. Maybe it was closer to when Desmond showed up. I don't really know when he did that, but yeah, I don't know. I never really thought about how long that's supposed to be. Weird.
You also have to wonder, what, if any, contact did Kelvin have with Jacob or the island? Did he witness anything crazy or have any dreams or, because I always wondered, how he knew Desmond was on the shore, how he knew Desmond had washed up, because he seemed to just be expecting him almost. Because as soon as Desmond got there, he got him, So you got to wonder about that. Was he just out and about and saw Desmond, or did he, hear something? Or...
Yeah, I remember we talked about that at the time. The way the scene plays out, you can't really tell, I don't think, how long Desmond has been there. It doesn't play... you don't see a continuous path from Desmond being on the boat to the boat crashing to Kelvin coming to him. You see Desmond on a boat, rocking around, and then you cut to him just lying on the beach, and you see Desmond come up, and it's played in this dreamy fashion.
Kelvin?
What?
You mean Kelvin come up?
Oh, what did I say?
You said Desmond.
Sorry. Okay, yeah. Kelvin comes up.
So Kelvin comes. Yeah, I get the sense he wasn't there that long though, because it was sort of before he really regained consciousness.
Yeah, I agree that he wasn't there that long, but but it wasn't necessarily immediately.
It wasn't immediately, but I wouldn't imagine Desmond was really knocked out for that long. Especially having to, swim at some point to the shore, or sort of swim / float to the shore.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like he wasn't there that long, but nevertheless, it's a big island, and he found him, so that makes me wonder how that happened.
Yeah. I remember at the time speculating that he was wearing his stuff, and if he didn't think that there was any need to wear that stuff, then you wouldn't think he would be doing it at that point, since he's by himself. He doesn't have anyone to try to trick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember thinking that he saw Desmond there, and then he ran back to get his outfit.
And remember, he only has 108 minutes. And
yeah,
that was
that's
part
true.
of the thing too, is you can't, so it's not like he could just leave for the day and trek around the island.
Yeah.
Like, he's only got 108 minutes to leave and be back, and so he would have had to have found Desmond in that amount of time.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's another hand of how long he was out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he shouldn't have had the suit on unless he was just not convinced really that there was something wrong, or maybe it's when Desmond showed up and was okay. Maybe he believed that there was a sickness, and he wore the suit for all those 9 years, and it wasn't until he saw Desmond without a suit and maybe he waited to see what would happen to him for a couple days, and when nothing happened, he decided, okay, there's probably no sickness, and he tested it out for himself. And that scene when Kelvin goes out to when Desmond follows him and sees him take off the suit, I mean, that could be the first time he took it off.
Mhm.
We don't really know, and I don't remember the details of that episode. There might be things I'm missing here, but that could be really how we're supposed to believe that happened. Was that he thought it was a sickness, and it wasn't until Desmond showed up that it kind of proved that there wasn't.
Yeah. Although I remember him saying fairly quickly that, getting Desmond to take the whatever it was, the shot thing.
Mhm.
And that he, was in danger from being exposed.
Which makes sense. He should expect that. But after nothing really happening to him, that's probably this is just a guess, but that's probably when he was like, maybe there is no sickness.
Mhm.
And then he goes out to test it for himself.
Yeah.
I never thought about that before. I assumed he always knew that there was at some point.
Yeah.
But,
I did too.
But I think that's how that scene makes sense. Why he's in his hazmat suit.
I don't like the idea that it's always been a ruse. That there was never that this is some myth that Dharma people try to get the people in that hatch to believe.
Yeah, I think there was something. I mean, I think what happened with Rousseau, I think something really happened with her people, and I think from her version of the story, I think she had cause to believe there was something wrong with them, and I think we've seen other things happen that are weird too, and now we're getting the word sickness bandied about again, in this episode. So I don't want to believe that it was just a ruse always. I think there really was something going on.
Yeah, and if that's true, I would guess that Kelvin would have to figure that out somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Desmond was the big clue.
I like that idea. Now here's the kicker. Here's what doesn't make any sense. They had that whole confrontation out on the rocks,
mm-hmm.
on the water without the suits.
Yeah.
And then later, Desmond, obviously we saw him take the shot.
Yeah.
So if it was, I think we talked about that before. If it
mm-hmm.
was sort of, if he didn't think the sickness was real, then why did he keep taking a shot?
Yeah. Yeah, we did, and he seems to. I think he even asks when the first people to go down there if they're sick.
Mhm. Yeah, he seems to think it's still there.
Yeah.
Even though he sort of should know it isn't.
Yeah.
And did he really have enough vaccine for like 3 years?
Yeah, I know. He really shouldn't have.
Unless he was getting the supply drop.
Although, the vaccine. How did they get it? How did they get that vaccine after Dharma died? Maybe, supply drop. That's what you said. Sorry.
You're running about 30 seconds behind.
Apparently. There must be a phone delay or something.
We're talking through the barrier.
I somehow, I worked to your conclusion and then realized that you had already said it.
Ray's already dead. But to you, he's just fine.
Yeah, okay. Supply drop. Supply drop, still don't know what to do with supply drop. But
yeah, because I feel like, I mean, I don't think Desmond was around during the supply drop, was he? What was he doing?
No, that was during the period of season 2 before he showed back up. He was was presumably off in his boat. That's what we're supposed to believe. Either he was heading there, or he was fixing it, or he was already. Yeah, it was fairly late in the season, so he might have been already trying to leave.
That's so funny that he, when we first saw that episode, you assume he's running off to something crazy, maybe to another station or something.
Yeah.
Some other, plan B or something. But no, he's just going to his boat.
Yeah. It seems really odd because you don't know anything about him at the time, and you're like, oh, and he talked to Jack off the island, and he's up to something, and everybody was like, he's one of the others. He knows all kinds of things, and yeah, it's really there really isn't that much crazy. I mean, he is involved in some crazy stuff, but him himself, he's not privy to a lot of secrets.
Yeah.
And he it was the same thing with the glow on the hatch, when Locke was pounding on the hatch and it lit up, like,
man, that was the biggest, for that to be like the bathroom light or whatever,
yeah.
Like he's just going to go potty in the middle of the night. That was so ridiculous. He just cuts on the light because he hears banging. Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when you compare it to how like amazing and crazy it seemed when it happened originally.
Mm-hmm.
When you first watch the show, I think it's hard not to be blown away by that.
Yeah.
But once you know what it is, it's like, really? Oh, it just seems so ridiculous, and it takes the punch out of the scene because Locke is at his wit's end. He's just pretty much killed Boone. And he's feeling like he has no purpose in life. And if he only knew how trivial that light is, it wouldn't make him feel better.
Yeah, no.
Like it doesn't have a lot of impact when you know how non-meaningful that light is.
Yeah.
Oh well.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. For first-time Lost watchers, though, they get to enjoy that once at least.
And really, isn't that the least that they deserve?
It is.
I thought, yeah. What scene are we talking about? We're talking about.
We're talking about the Horace scene.
And yeah, tangentially, I'm sure. Very
tangentially, it kind of. I think Horace led to Dharma, which led to past events.
Mhm. Do we need to continue, or can we go ahead?
I think we can go ahead unless you.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I can't think of anything else I want to say about this.
Okay, I think I got it.
Oh, actually, no, I did want to talk about Ben's line, I used to have dreams.
Oh.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That, obviously, this is the way the island communicates. It's not like necessarily these people are sort of, Locke is special. That's everybody gets it. If the island wants you, you're going to have some dreams.
Mm-hmm.
More or less. So that's interesting. My question is it Ben's fault that the island doesn't want him anymore? Because he doesn't really seem to act like it's his fault. And, of course, he's the kind of person, you killed Alex and you did the purge and you blah, blah, blah. And he doesn't really take responsibility because he always feels like, someone else is telling him to do it, even if he's the one who carries out the actions. But just the way he acts, he doesn't really act like it's anything that he did. It's just the island doesn't want me anymore. But I wonder if that's true or not.
Like it's just the natural course of things.
Yeah, I just wonder if the island, if it's that Ben, went too far, and he, in his quest to do whatever, he just went too far, and the island, says, no, we don't want that. Or is it that he did what he was supposed to do, and just bad luck that the island doesn't care about him anymore.
The island just moves on to a successor at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. If he went too far, when would that have been? I mean, if the island was already mad at him when he got the cancer, what was the island's problem? He had done stuff by then, but I don't know. Not a lot in terms of the present, day on the island.
I don't know. I mean, it could be that Albert was sort of the leader of the others, / the people who were sort of connected to the island, and then Ben became the leader, and now Locke is going to become the leader, and it could just be a revolving, chain of command kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is strange, but we got to talk about that whole thing with Albert and Locke, and
yeah,
there's more here, but I just wanted to bring up the fact that Ben doesn't seem like he knows, really why the island isn't in favor with him anymore, other than the fact that it just isn't.
Yeah. And I have to point out about having dreams, I don't think it's required that you be the chosen one of the island to have dreams.
Well, no, I didn't say that.
No, I didn't say you did. I'm just stating that, independently of what you said, it was just a statement. I've seen it said. For example, Echo had a dream, Claire had a dream, Charlie had a dream. I don't think any one of these people are chosen ones of the island. I mean, 2 of them are dead. So, there are probably more dreams than that I'm forgetting. But, having a dream doesn't necessarily mean that you're sort of special. Maybe it's the kind of dream you have or what the dream tells you or something. But it seems like the island will just give dreams to people at its own discretion.
Yeah, which was my point, that I think that's just the way the island communicates with you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're like a chosen one or special or not, but if the island wants to talk to you, it's going to give you a dream.
Mhm.
Yeah. Not that just some people get dreams and some people get other things. I mean, of course, we've seen the apparitions talk to people, and people who have talked to apparitions haven't necessarily had dreams, but what those apparitions are, we're not even sure yet. But yeah, it seems like just as a rule of thumb, the island just likes to talk through dreams.
Yeah. In dreams, it can get away with certain things more easily that would play strangely in real life. But I don't know what that's about. But yeah, it does seem to, in general, like to communicate that way. But yeah, I was just whatever. Yes.
All right, next scene.
I agree with your point. I was just trying to expound on it or something.
Yeah. You ready for the next scene?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Next scene is a flashback. Which, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first episode with a proper flashback since we had a flashback in that Sun and Jin episode.
Ji-yeon, yeah.
And before that,
the other woman was a flashback and confirmed dead.
Okay. And Lostpedia says that this is the first episode since DOC to feature a pre-crash flashback of an 815 survivor. A little trivia there.
What? Wait, what? Would you mind repeating that? I think I must have misunderstood.
Lostpedia says this is the first episode since DOC to feature conventional pre-crash flashbacks of an 815 survivor.
Greatest Hits was a flashback about Charlie. That was after DOC.
That seems true. Yeah.
And
I wonder why they.
And Ji Yeon is a weird thing, but it is a flashback about Jin, and he was on the plane too.
This says maybe because Greatest Hits wasn't. I think what they're trying to say. I think that's why they said conventional, was because in Greatest Hits there was that other flashback, and in
Greatest Hits was segmented.
Yeah,
it wasn't like one story.
Yeah, and in Ji-Yeon, it had the flash forward too. So I think that's what they mean, is that this is basically a regular old-fashioned Lost episode.
That's what they mean by conventional.
Yeah, that's what they mean. That's why they say conventional.
Yeah. Which I think it's not quite conventional, but it's closer.
It's closer to what?
To conventional.
You don't think the flashbacks are conventional in this episode?
No, I guess because, to me, we rarely see, I'm pretty sure the only other time we've seen a character be born is Ben's flashback. We rarely see that. It's a significant amount of story when they're a baby. That's...
well, I think they just mean conventional in the format.
Oh, okay.
The content, it's not conventional in content. I mean, because the content ranges from, we've seen random stuff in flashbacks. There's, I don't know what you could call a conventional flashback in terms of content.
Yeah.
But I think they just mean, it's just the format that's conventional.
I mean, because this is still, I guess, to me, a conventional flashback. The way I would want to say it is that it tells a single story, in a reasonable period of time. Like, it has its own plot. I think that's the standard sort of flashback. A lot of them fit into that mold, but this one, it does kind of just skip all over the place. It has certain connections, but it's.
Okay, hello everyone. Hope you enjoyed that one as well. And now I will take you to the last clip. So this is from the very same podcast, this as the previous one, Cabin Fever, from the original time, of course. I do want to dig into the later stuff to continue this, because this compilation is not over, even though this will be the last clip for this segment here. In any case, this is the two of us talking about the trip to the cabin at the end of the episode, with Locke going in alone, seeing Christian and Claire, Ben and Hurley are there, etc., etc. So I was planning to try to put in all the cabin stuff, but it's getting lengthy, and I figured why not just give you what I have so far. So I will continue this series. I want to do stuff from the incident and the cabin scene from the incident, and then I also want to look into the commentaries just to see. And in fact, we have a mini episode specifically about the cabin. So anyway, there's more coming in this compilation, but for now, enjoy this. I guess the other thing I'll say about this clip is I just went ahead and put it all the way to the end of the episode, so we might wander from the cabin a bit and just start talking about the episode as a whole, or what's coming in the season, or what have you. But I thought it was an appropriate place to end, so enjoy.
So anything?
Get ready for the next scene, please,
okay.
God.
This is the last scene. So
everyone, round of applause, please.
Yes, we're here.
If you've made it to this far, what? How long has it been?
Very long time. 7:36.
Oh my God! So we beat the last one.
We beat the last one. This is now the
meet
second
Kevin Johnson.
longest podcast ever for us.
Oh.
So
it should be a victory, but it feels like defeat.
So we go back to the cabin. Ben decides not to go to the cabin because his time is over, and it's Locke's time now. Hurley doesn't want to go in either, for reasons that he doesn't state, but,
he's too chicken.
He's, afraid. Ben wishes Locke good luck. Thanks, Ben. Locke walks up to the cabin. He lights a lamp from the front of the cabin and walks in the cabin holding the lamp. And now I will proceed to read the entire scene.
Oh my God! You're gonna read the whole thing?
Yeah, it isn't that long, and that's what I want to do. Here we go. Locke says, "Are you Jacob?" Oh, sorry. Let me go back a little bit here. He walks into the room. He's holding the lamp. There's a man sitting at the table. He sort of walks up. Then he says, "Are you Jacob?" The man sitting at the table says, "No, but I can speak on his behalf." Locke says, "Well, who are you?" The man at the table says, "I'm Christian." Locke says, "You know why I'm here?" Christian says, "Yeah, sure. Do you?" Locke says, "I'm here because I was chosen to be." Christian says, "That's absolutely right." At this point, there's a creak. According to the transcript, a loud creak. Locke goes over to another part of the room, and he sees Claire over there. Locke says, "Claire?" Claire says, "Hi, John." Locke says, "What are you doing here?" Claire says, "Don't worry, I'm fine. I'm with him." Locke says, "Where's the baby?" Christian says, "The baby's where he's supposed to be, and that's not here. It's probably best that you don't tell anyone that you saw her." Locke says, "Why? Why is she?" And then he's cut off by Christian, who says, "We don't have time for this. The people from the boat are already on their way back, and once they get here, all of these questions won't matter one bit. So why don't you ask the one question that does matter?" Locke says, "How do I save the island?"
And then the cow says moo, and then the sheep says baa, and then the horse says neigh. That was very weird hearing that. All right, so there's that scene.
There's that scene. And it kind of flows in the next one, so I'll just go ahead and describe the next scene.
All right.
Ben and Hurley are sitting outside the cabin waiting for Locke. Hurley unwraps a candy bar. After a bit, he breaks it in half, offers the other half to Ben. Ben takes it. They both sit there and eat.
Lost.
Yeah, I actually thought that was going to be Lost. It was
man.
I thought it was going to be one of those weird things like the Charlie Claire scene at the end of season 2, where it's just like, really? That's the end? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Locke emerges from the cabin. Locke approaches Ben and Hurley. Ben says, "Did he tell you what you were supposed to do?" Locke says he did. Ben says, "Well?" Locke says, "He wants us to move the island."
Lost. Yeah, well.
Finally. That was the last bit.
Did you think Jacob's, or should I say Christian's answer was a little lackluster?
About what?
Moving the island?
Oh.
I don't know. I just thought it was like, I mean, obviously the idea of moving an island is a feat in of itself, but I don't know. I just felt like it's like, hey, there's these guys who are attacking my house. What should I do? Move your house. Like, it's such an easy answer, in that respect. I was expecting something bigger, or something like some real solution to the problem instead of just, sort of negating the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty big, and I guess it shocked me, the idea that they could move the island.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would expect Jacob to do better than that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I would expect, like, here's their weakness, and here's what you need to do, and here's some sort of big thing that'll really, solve this problem. Because moving the island only, this is going to make them want to find it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt really like, that's it. Mm-hmm. Even though it's a big idea, it just felt like, what? That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So, I don't know where.
I've got a question.
Okay.
Yawn. Sorry, guys. It's been 7.5 hours. I can't pretend I'm not tired.
Yeah. It's where I am is currently 3:30 a.m. and as I've said off podcast, once we hit that 4 o'clock hour, don't expect anything approaching interesting or coherent from me.
Yeah, I think in another 20 minutes we're both going to be sleeping and snoring on the podcast.
Yeah, that'll be a milestone for us.
Yeah. All right. My question is, where is Jacob, and how come he's not talking to John here?
Oh, that is a great question.
All right, next question.
If I compliment you on your question, do I not have to answer it?
That's tantamount to answering, I think.
God, I don't know. I don't understand. It really seemed like, I think Jacob was there when Locke and Ben went there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ben seemed to talk to him, and then he seemed to talk to Locke when he said, "Help me," so I don't know. I don't understand why Jacob isn't there. I guess, I have the sense that because they've talked about, like, they've had people ask, they had that one shot of Jacob, that really quick shot of him. And they had a lot of people ask, there was speculation about who he was. There were people who thought he was Locke, and others, not just Locke, but he was a very common theory. Well, not he was the theory, but the theory was that it was him. God, I'm losing my train of thought. What am I talking about?
You're talking about a nice warm bed and fluffy pillows and 8 hours of sleep.
I knew that. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
I think that's what you're talking about. No, you're talking about Jacob, and that there was a theory. People have thought that he was certain others, and
I forgot I was even talking about Jacob. Okay, yeah. So Jacob was there, and a lot of people asked, who was that? Who? You
mean in terms of the actor?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Who played Jacob? And they refused to answer, and I've got the sense from the way they've dodged that question, because I really think if it didn't really matter that much.
Oh my God. Keep going, but I got something stupid to say.
What I was going to say is, if it didn't really matter that much, I feel like they could just say this actor played him, but I feel like they're going for something with Jacob.
Holy crap, Justin. You're about to blow my world. Wait, let me rephrase that.
Oh, dear. I don't know what that means, but...
I don't know either. But we'll talk about that later. I meant you're going to blow my mind.
Yeah, or rock your world.
Rock my world, yeah. I combined them, okay. That's how my brain works. Walt and Locke are the same, and... Are you finished with your statement? Because I need to say something.
I got the idea out there.
Because what this makes me think of, which excites me to no end, which I think is the coolest idea I've probably ever had. Which
I don't.
Which other people have probably thought. I'm sure they have. What if Jacob is Locke? Like Locke becomes Jacob. And that would totally tie into that Buddhist thing.
Yeah. Okay.
What if the reason they don't want to tell us who the actor was because the actor was Terry O'Quinn?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's why Jacob wasn't in the room. Well, Locke was in the room with Jacob in there that first time. But what if? I mean, people have said that that was Locke, but I never really thought about what that would mean. If that was really Locke.
Yeah, and back then we didn't know this stuff about Locke being the chosen.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Yeah.
So my perspective on Locke is very different after this episode. I wasn't convinced that he mattered all that much until this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that he thought he mattered, but
But yeah, it didn't. It just, there wasn't really. I didn't think that solid evidence that the island cared that much more about him than other people who have had visions, who have been healed, etc. So yeah, I mean, basically what I was trying to say is that I feel like the fact that they were evasive about who it is, that makes me think that who it is would shock us.
Yeah, and the
a key thing.
Yeah, or they're going to use this actor for some other role later, and they don't want us to know. Oh, here's this guy who's Jacob, kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
That's interesting, but
I feel like the reveal of who Jacob is, I feel like they're going to do something with that, and maybe that's the reason we don't see Jacob here.
Yeah. Now, here's the question though: I wonder if Jacob
answer your question. Woo!
Oh.
Wow, I did it.
Yeah.
I stumbled into an answer.
Wait, what was my question?
Your question, or your earlier question, was why isn't Jacob there?
Oh, why isn't Jacob there? Oh, yeah, you did answer that. My new question is, well, not my new question, but I was wondering, maybe Jacob is there, and we just don't see him, and Locke does. Because as long, he was invisible last time we saw him.
Yeah.
Practically.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. And as long as he didn't say anything to Locke, presumably he would just stay that way, Locke wouldn't know he was there. So I'm wondering if Jacob was really there.
Yeah, that's a good point, and he very well could be. When Hurley saw the cabin, he saw Christian sitting in there at the chair, which, I always thought that was Jacob's chair, but apparently Christian enjoys sitting there.
Christian can sit wherever he wants to.
And I think... Is that right? I didn't know.
I guess. I think that's what he would tell you.
Yeah, okay. He probably would. And then the eye sort of appears in the window to Hurley.
We still don't know who that was.
And
was that supposed to be Jacob?
I think that was Jacob.
I think that was Mikhail.
I remember that. You did think that, and apparently do. Not going to give up on the dream of Mikhail?
I don't want to yet. I don't want to see Jacob's eye like that. To me, that's weird. I don't know. It's just weird to me. It's just weird that he would pop in the window like that. It just, for who Jacob should be, I don't know. It's just weird that he's, if he was sitting in the chair and Christian popped in the window, I'd buy that. But Jacob popping in the window is just weird to me.
It is weird. It is weird. The reason I thought that at the time was because of the shot of Jacob's eye in The Man Behind the Curtain. Because they do that. I mean, they don't have him pop in a window, but they cut to a quick shot of his eye.
Which looks like Locke's eye.
Looks like Locke's eye.
Looks like Locke's eye.
There was that whole thing about who the eye was. Yeah, maybe the eye is somebody else, but that's my. But the idea that Jacob is Locke is compelling, I'd say. It's weird. I mean, does it mean that? I mean, what does it mean to become Jacob? If you become Jacob, does that mean, the stuff that Jacob did in the past was, like, how does that work? Who was Jacob before Locke becomes Jacob? Answering a who question with a yes is always interesting. I would wonder about that. Like, if he's supposed to become Jacob, like, does that make him become Jacob for all time? Like,
well, maybe Jacob is like the Dalai Lama. It's just sort of a position,
Yeah, okay, and just different people occupy the position. Okay.
Yeah. You know what I was actually
thinking?
I
feel like that should mean that the Jacob that Locke sees wouldn't look like Locke. It would look like whoever the current Jacob is.
Well, but they all look the same.
But they all look the same, and possibly like Locke.
I don't know, but I was thinking there does seem to be this sort of hierarchy thing. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if Christian says he can speak for Jacob, but I was thinking. It seemed to be, Jacob and Ben were working together. Now it seems like, Locke and Christian are going to be working together. And that's an interesting sort of pair-up.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's, basically, if the leader of the others can change and does change or should change, I wonder if that's true for, like, Jacob's position, too. Is Christian really going to come in and sort of, like, if Locke is going to be the new leader, is Christian going to be the guy that Locke talks to, basically? Or will Locke really deal with Jacob one-on-one at some point, like Ben did?
Mhm.
I would imagine, one reason, I asked, why isn't Jacob there, or why doesn't Locke at least talk to him when he's there? Maybe it would be too shocking for Locke at this point. If Locke is Jacob, are they look alike? Or if if he saw him and it looks like him, that would be, fairly shocking.
Mhm.
And maybe that's one of the reasons why he doesn't see him.
Yeah.
Yet, But then, of course, you might ask, well, if Ben can see Jacob, doesn't Ben know that Jacob looks like Locke if they're the same or whatever? To which I would answer, what? And then run in the other direction.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really make Jacob being Locke make sense. All I can say is 7.5 hours into the podcast, it sounds really interesting.
I don't think Jacob should already be Locke. I could see Locke.
Well, not be Locke. I mean, yeah. The other way around. Like, I mean, I think you might even have to put time travel in this or some sort of, something to make that work. But just in effect where Locke becomes Jacob or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that happening, and maybe like, being the chosen one of the island is like a I don't know. It's like a tenure track position, if I may.
Yeah.
Where you have to kind of prove yourself to graduate to the level of Jacob.
Mhm.
And maybe Ben sort of didn't get tenure, if you will.
Yeah.
And just
Well, Ben had tenure. He just lost it, I think. I mean, he was in control for a while, right?
Well, I guess I'm thinking
guess.
of tenure as becoming Jacob.
Oh, I see. So not just being in charge, but
Yeah.
actually like real. So okay, real
Yeah.
high up there. Okay.
Yeah. The idea of being the leader and being the chosen one, being like a path on the way to becoming Jacob.
But that's the thing. I would say that Ben couldn't have been Jake. Like he would not been able to have done that, basically.
Okay.
Because I think if Locke is Jacob, if they're sort of the same or the same spirit or the same whatever sense that they're the same, Ben isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he could have reached that level even if he tried.
Okay.
So I would say no to that. I would say in terms of, being sort of, in charge and stuff, he got to that point. But to cross to the next level, I mean, I'm interested to see if Jacob is really going to be a crazy mystery, like someone we already know or have seen or something.
Mhm.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I feel like his identity will be significant in some way. And I guess, the only way for that to really be true is if he's someone we already knew.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess I kind of think that'll happen.
And I mean, it's enough that they want Locke because he's special or chosen or whatever. But if it's more like Locke is Jacob and they're really sort of more intricately connected, then that would make Albert's interest in him greatly apparent.
Yeah.
Like the whole Dalai Lama thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, what else in this scene? Claire? Should we talk about Claire?
Let's see. Yeah, sure.
She was chilling.
She was chilling. Yeah. So what's going on with Claire? Is she why is she there? Like why? Why, Jacob? Why? Like, Is Ghost Christian just like, I want to hang out with Claire for a while?
I want to hang out with my daughter I never got to hang out with when I was alive.
Yeah, but the baby can't be here?
Yeah, babies are annoying when they cry.
Well, I agree, but...
I think,
and
is
Claire alive?
Let's start with one question at a time.
Okay.
Is Claire alive? I would say. Let me flip a coin real quick. No. I want to say she is alive, and part of me thinks, if she's hanging out in the cabin, she shouldn't be alive.
Yeah.
But part of me is like, well, when did she die? We haven't seen her die, and I don't think her coming with Christian means she died somehow in that sort of agreement to go with him or something. I'm gonna think she's alive until we see her die. Now, if we hadn't really seen her after her house got blown up, I would say, oh, maybe she kind of died in that thing. But we saw her afterwards, and she didn't seem dead at all.
No.
So, yeah,
Nothing
you know what I mean?
About the way she was speaking or walking around.
Speaking and talking and breathing and eating and being alive didn't really give me the sense she was dead. So that's the thing. I don't... the only way I think she could be dead in my eyes is if she died in that explosion, and for some reason she just kind of seemed alive since, and Christian, came to get her because she is dead, and he made her realize that or something, and that's why she left the baby, because she realized she was dead, and yes, I can touch the baby and I can pick him up, but I'm dead and he needs to be with whomever or whatever that is. And that actually makes sense to me in terms of her motivation to leave the baby.
Yeah.
I think that's a good reason to leave when you realize you're dead. But it's time to give some stuff up.
Yeah.
But of course that hurdle is to say that she has been dead since the explosion.
Yeah, which is a stretch.
Problematic, I think.
You do have the Miles line, and the Miles interest in her.
Hey, very good point. You do have the Miles interest in her. And it seemed like she was feeding the baby, breastfeeding at one point. And if she's dead, can she really breastfeed the baby?
Oh, dear.
No, I mean, they didn't show her doing that.
But... Wasn't she using a bottle? I don't think she was breastfeeding.
I don't think she was using a bottle. I didn't see her have any baby, gear with her at all.
Really? Not
at all. I remember her carrying the baby in the blanket the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that's why Sawyer was specifically telling him not to look at her, because I thought she was trying to feed the baby.
Mm.
She had him in that position, and she was kind of fumbling in that area.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. But
it would be weird for a dead person to breastfeed a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Dead breast milk.
He's not drinking. Oh, wait. I'm dead.
And everyone, to everyone there, well, I don't know what Miles thought, but, to all the other people around.
She seemed regular and normal.
Yeah.
Like the other apparitions, I gotta say,
yeah.
when people, the only reason people react strangely to the apparitions is because they know they're dead.
Yeah.
But other than that, they look like regular people.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and we've seen Christian, interact with the environment, has tangible, is that the word? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tangible interactions with the island and its stuff.
What I don't think we've seen is an apparition get so, involved in the, what the living people are doing.
Yeah.
That's a new thing for apparitions.
And if she's dead, then what was then that theory that Charlie kind of came to her and tried to save her doesn't really make a lot of sense.
That would be weak if she just died anyway.
Unless he came to sort of usher her to the whatever beyond and sort of got interrupted or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I kind of feel like she's dead. She's behaving sort of oddly. The idea that she's just chilling in this cabin.
Something changed, obviously. She was told or experienced something that it sort of changed her outlook. I mean, she's really content where she is.
Yeah.
But is still aware of what's going on. I mean, she didn't say, like, what baby?
Yeah.
She was aware of what was going on. So part of me thinks she's dead, but we haven't seen her die. So like I said, unless her death was the explosion, I think she's alive.
Yeah. Okay. And then I would wonder, what's going on with her? Why is she hanging out in the cabin? Why couldn't she just go back to the beach?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think it has to do with whatever reason Christian, came to her in the first place, and it could just be, you're not supposed to be there, and you're supposed to stay here, and and he just wants, he doesn't want. But see, that's the thing. If I don't see Claire getting on a helicopter, Desmond said he saw that.
Helicopter. I don't think Desmond can see it either. He's over on the freighter.
Yeah, I mean, did he just say that just to let Charlie die or whatever? I wonder if he just made that up. Because I don't know how it's going to happen.
He saw Charlie, get an arrow in the throat and die, and then that didn't happen. So it could be that he saw it and then it didn't happen.
Mhm. I mean, he got close to the arrow in the throat, though.
Well, yeah, that's
it was
true.
Definitely close.
Yeah.
And if she just hangs it in the cabin, I mean, how close is she going to be to getting on a helicopter?
Yeah.
And what changed? What did he do or what happened to sort of change that? Because, he was actively trying to stop Charlie from dying, and no one's actively trying to stop Claire from getting on there, but...
Yeah, and the weird thing is, shutting down the looking glass helped, helped give Jack the ability to communicate with the freighter.
Mhm.
Initially.
Mhm.
So I don't know where I'm going with that, but it wasn't all that great that he did that.
Yeah, I thought about that before. That Charlie, risked his life and did all that, but it's really what helped the freighter get to the island.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, some good may come of it, but it hasn't been just an all-out great thing.
Yeah, much to his chagrin, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, the Desmond thing, God, I don't know. Maybe he was lying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. I mean, Claire, if she's dead, she could just show up and pretend to get on or something. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't even know how Desmond's going to see it at this point. He's just not even going to be around, seemingly, to see her get on a helicopter.
Well, didn't you bring up something before about him seeing something where he wasn't there?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, there was something that he saw that he wasn't there for, but I don't.
Yeah, like Claire drowning or something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
It could be that, say they're getting on the helicopter and Kate's there and she's got the baby in her arms or something. And what if an apparition Claire shows up and maybe no one can see her and she just kind of, sort of gets on a little bit just to kiss the baby goodbye or something. I don't know,
Yeah, okay, well. I guess we'll see.
It's a stretch.
It is.
I'm trying.
It is. But yeah, you want them to make good on their previous promises.
Yeah, or just later say that they were lying. I don't mind if he was lying. Just later say, "Oh, I lied to Charlie because I needed him to do this," and blah blah blah. And
yeah.
I didn't see a helicopter.
Yeah.
But yeah, Claire. I want to think she's dead. I just haven't seen her die, so I'm not convinced. I am interested to see what's going on though, and I wonder if it. Here's my question: does it have to do with more than the fact that they're father and daughter, that they're hanging out? Is it Christian just wants to hang out with his daughter he never knew?
Yeah.
Or is it there's more to the grand scheme of things that she's there,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's weird he identifies himself as Christian.
Yeah, I thought so too. Especially, compared to Yemi.
Mm-hmm.
His famous parting words.
Mm-hmm. Which was?
You speak to me as if I'm your brother.
Mm-hmm.
Suggesting that he does not view himself as Yemi.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an odd line. It's a good line, but it says something about how that Yemi apparition views himself, and Christian doesn't seem to view himself that way. He seems to view himself as Christian.
Yeah. And it seems like, we had that thing about smoky apparitions versus other apparitions and stuff, and
the idea that's just weird. Like, Smokey can appear as people, and also we can have apparitions appear in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. That's just.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I thought they kind of connected Yemi with Christian by having his body disappear.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was, they were tying us together, and the explanation for the two was the same. But that part of it seems different. The fact that the apparition Yemi doesn't seem to think he's Yemi.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if Smokey eats the dead bodies, he can show up as them. I don't know. It also baffles me. It will continue to baffle me that, Christian showed himself to Jack all that time in season 1 and never cared again. And I just wonder if that meant anything. Like, was he trying to get, Jack to repent or something? Like, what would have, if Jack would have, kept, seeing him or something, what did he want? To retcon it, they have, we know the sort of show really starts with Christian telling Vincent, wake my son up.
Mm-hmm.
He's got work to do. But I mean, he never told Jack that. He was showing up to Jack a couple times, and he never really said anything or did anything or.
No.
And then
I
he
would
just stopped.
expect him to want to talk to Jack some too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he knew Jack better than he knew Claire, but he was definitely on pretty bad terms with Jack.
Yeah.
When he died, and I'd expect him to want to at least kind of reconcile that. So I would expect him to appear to Jack more than he has. I mean, he didn't really appear to Claire until this season either. So I don't know what he's up to. He's very. I mean, he really hasn't until this season, and I guess until the Mobisode. I mean, I never really thought that the Christian apparition was, such a big.
Anything more than a zombie?
Yeah, I mean, I really thought he was just, put him with everybody else. Jack saw other people saw people. He saw his dad, whatever. Now it seems like Christian has some kind of privileged, like.
Doesn't it seem like Henry Gale all over again? Like somehow, like all of a sudden, Christian is now, given these special privileges for whatever new reason. Like before he didn't have that kind of thing, and now they want him to, so he does.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean.
I should have said Henry Gale. I should have said like Michael Emerson thing, where they like his character so much they want to keep him around and give him more to do.
Yeah, so they give him a big role on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened. Maybe they just decided they wanted to make his character a bigger thing. Because now it seems like he's Jacob's, like, spokesperson.
Yeah, and it's like, when did that happen?
Yeah.
Even as of when we saw Jacob the first time, like, Yeah, it seems like after that season is when they decided, hey, let's make Christian like.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
between White Rabbit, when we saw Christian for the first time, well, I guess they saw him for the first time a little before that, but whatever. When we dealt with his apparition, and that Mobisode or the premiere of this season, I mean, he was not to be seen at all.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're to believe that he,
he's Jacob's right-hand man.
Yeah. It seems like we should have seen him sometime. It seems like it would play better if he's going to play a big role, for him to have appeared sometime in there and do something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. You might be right, though. They might have just decided that, maybe they needed a role like this and decided to get him.
Yeah. I also wonder, not wonder, but, how come, it's the same thing I always ask, but, Locke is in there with, like, Christian and Claire, and he doesn't ask any good questions. What is Smokey? What's the Whispers? What are you? Why are you here? Who is Horace? There's... Locke, just ask one extra question, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, go find out what you need to do to save the island, and then ask one extra question, please,
Yeah, I agree. We deserve that. And I think it always bugs me that, like, the only thing that matters, the only question that matters, is always, like, not one of the big mysteries.
Yeah, and it's always like, well, if they do this, then no question's going to matter. It's like, well...
Exactly.
But what if they don't?
Yeah.
Like, can you promise me I can come back here once this is all said and done and ask questions? It's like... That's
the problem. Yeah, it's always like, it's almost like Saeed's thing. Like, we'll just talk about this later.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no time. Let's just deal with the current situation. And they're just always in that... It starts to feel like they're never... I mean, there's always something going on in the show. Like, they're never going to be in a position where they can just sit and chat about the mysteries.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, the way the show is going naturally, it seems like they would never reveal that stuff because they're always dealing with what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe
they need
some
a
of
scene
it
like...
in, but...
They need one of those scenes like... and I think... Was it Juliet's episode or Sun and Jin's episode this season when Kate, like, explains what happens, to I think to Sun and Jin or something. She explains what happened with the Tempest and all that.
Oh, yeah. That must have been the episode after the other woman.
Yeah.
I guess that was Ji Yeon.
Yeah, exactly. And, we don't get scenes like that a lot, but, like, it would be great if we got one of those that had to do with Jacob, or Christian now. And yeah, it's
the
really
weird thing about that Kate scene is, like, now that I look at it, I mean, I didn't know that was the right way to interpret that episode. And even after she said it, I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was only when Dan didn't know what the power was, last episode that, like, I realized, okay, well, I guess that wasn't a power station. And,
Yeah, it was a poison gas factory.
Yeah, it was a poison gas factory. Like, okay, all right. And it's weird that I really feel like that that should have been clear in the episode.
I think Carlton would be flabbergasted that people didn't think it was clear.
You're probably right. God.
Yeah, that's what's weird to me is when they get, like, the really easy stuff, they overdo, and then the little things like that kind of matter, they just gloss over.
Yeah.
Like, all they have to do is say, blah, 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 poison gas factory. What, are you serious? Yeah, this factory was, blah, 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 for poison gas. Like, just clarify that she's serious.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes. It's one extra line.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I'm too tired to really care.
Yeah, me too. I'll surely be angry about it in the morning.
Mhm. Anything else in this scene? What else?
Let me see.
I'm sure there's something.
Blah blah blah. Yeah, you're right. All those questions won't matter one bit. Locke tried to ask about Claire, and the baby.
Yeah, it's weird that Christian tells Locke, it's better if you don't tell anyone she's here. But when Sawyer gets back with the baby, they're going to ask where Claire is, and it might not be a better answer to say she's in this mystical cabin, but that's at least some answer than to say we don't know where she is, because that would just incite people to go look for her. I mean, if Charlie was around, he'd certainly head out to go look for her.
Yeah.
And I'm actually curious to see how because they're not going to send people out looking for her, I don't think. And I wonder what they're going to do to say, because they should have someone want to go look for her, like Jack maybe, but obviously they have other things to be doing. So I wonder what excuse they'll use to sort of not have anyone go look for her.
Yeah.
And what they'll probably do is say, well, the last place we saw Claire was on the way to like where the helicopter is, so we'll just kind of look for her and that kind of thing. Two birds with one stone.
Yeah, they can do that.
That's what I would do.
I mean, they really have no basis for where to look anyway.
Well, they would just have to, they'd have to start where they last saw her and then use their tracking skills to try to like look around. But that's the thing, they really have. You're right. They really shouldn't be able to find her. Because she's in a cabin somewhere else, and so it's even it's pointless for them to try to look, but I think they should at least want to look.
Yeah, they should. They should.
We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be weird. We're gonna have Sawyer showing up, another one of those arrivals back to camp, and Claire's gone. I have the baby.
What do you mean she's gone?
Yeah.
I bet you $50 somebody says that.
Yeah.
She just disappeared. Sawyer gives some quippy remark about Miles, saying that Miles is the one who said she ran off into the jungle, and then Jack will get in his face and be like, tell me where she is.
I feel like I'm watching the finale already.
And then Juliet's like, now, Jack, let's be calm about this, okay? You don't want to bust your stitches.
God.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Son is like, if she's out there alone, we've got to find her.
Oh.
And Jin is like, you're not going anywhere without me, son. I got to think about you and the baby. Why is this show like
about everybody there?
I know. And Rose and Bernard's like, hey Rose, you think we should do something? And Rose is like, now Bernard, you're just a dentist.
There we go.
Yeah, it's so these characters, man. We've all been watching this show for too long, and it's just really easy to guess what they're going to do.
It is. Those scenes just write themselves.
They really do.
Well, I can't wait. Everybody who hears this can see how that scene plays out and compare.
Yeah, Charlotte's going to be anxious to go track down, the sat phone.
Yeah.
And Dan's going to be, oh, what should we do? Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. So, let's see here. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at my notes. One last look-see before we already hit hour 8. Oh my God. Of course we did. Hour 8. What are we doing?
I don't know. We're almost done.
Oh, man.
So, let's see. I can't imagine. Yeah.
Oh, that was my little question, is what if Christian took over for Jacob for real? like, you know, he kind of says, you know, I can speak for him, but I wonder if you know, I mean, I think we'll see Jacob again, but part of me wonders if Christian really took over.
Oh, that he's just usurped the Jacob position, and like the entity that
formerly known as Jacob.
yeah. You know what would happen to him in that case? Is he just
He's free to go to heaven.
Oh, okay. Yay.
Duh.
Sorry, silly me.
Buddhist heaven, though.
Oh, okay. Well, that's I'll go there.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it'll work. Okay. Yeah. I do wonder about Christian. Like, why Christian? There's other dead people.
There's tons of other dead people.
Yeah.
Why not Nikki or Apollo?
Yeah, it could. It really could be Nikki and Apollo.
Can you imagine walking to the cabin and seeing Nikki and Apollo hanging out?
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
That would be fucking crazy.
That'd be crazy. They're, like, arguing because they killed each other.
Yeah.
You hit the diamonds where?
They'd probably be mad they got buried alive too.
Oh, they'd be pissed.
It's a bad way to go.
Yeah, they would have some bad memories of their death. I forgot about that. I forgot they were buried alive.
Yeah, it's easy.
I thought that was too harsh.
It was really harsh.
I mean, even if the fans hated them, I think you still have to. I think, you know, as creators, they should respect their characters. I mean, they can do whatever they want, obviously, but I feel like it's only that harsh because fans didn't like them. And to me, that's not a. I don't know. Every character has their value, whether they're good or not. You know, bad or, you know, a positive character, negative character, and that was just so hard and unnecessarily so. You know, they didn't have to die that way.
Yeah.
You know, they could have, you know, the spider bite could have just killed them and not just, you know, whatever, you know. Or after a certain time of being paralyzed without antivenom, you die or something. But
yeah,
that was really harsh.
It was really harsh. Yeah, it didn't really fit in the show and the tone that they go for.
Yeah, it just seemed like
as a self-contained Tales from the Crypt type episode, it works. I think
exactly. If it was Tales from the Crypt, it'd be like, yeah, this is what they deserve.
Yeah.
But Lost, that's too much.
Yeah, it doesn't work on Lost. It really just stands out like really prominently in the middle of that season because it just doesn't match it. And I mean, even the story of the episode just like changes the tone of the show a lot.
Yeah, especially when a lot, you know, so many people who die, you know, I mean, Echo got to sort of at least attempt to repent, you know, he got the choice, and,
Echo
you know,
got
Charlie,
a real death.
Yeah, Charlie, you know, had a heroic death, you know, and there's other deaths that have been a little bit better, a lot better than that, and so it's weird to just be like, okay, well, here's being buried alive.
Their death really in the end it had nothing to do with the plot. They didn't really get to contribute anything. You know, it was just their little world that.
Yeah, and especially since like, you know, they knew about the Pearl Station, like, you know, and he went back and got the diamonds and stuff and all that, and you know, they had a little bit of information. And what was that thing with remember the walkie-talkie?
Yeah.
Did that ever come to anything?
The walkie-talkie, initially they thought they were working for the others, but it turned out that Paulo got the walkie-talkie when he was in the Pearl Station hiding the diamonds.
And Ben and Juliet left it.
Yeah, Ben and Juliet left.
But that never came to anything, though.
No, it never came to anything.
It wasn't like, because I think I remember thinking maybe they'll overhear something.
Yeah,
with
I
the
was
other
sure they would use the walkie. I don't even think they brought up the walkie-talkie again.
No, I don't think they did.
Because when it came to the finale, they just used Ben's walkie-talkie. You know, he was there. Like they made a whole thing with it. Like Jack took it away from Ben, and then Ben asked for it back, and then he talks to his people, and you know, there's never.
Oh, that's that short period of time where Jack was cool.
Yeah.
When he beat up Ben and all that.
Mhm. Yeah, the good old days. Yeah, Jack was different back then. His journey this season has been a very uneventful one, I think.
Yeah, well, he had his time in the spotlight
compared to last season.
Last season was, oh man.
Yeah, he got to go through a lot. So yeah.
Even if there is more to talk about, I think we're done.
I think I agree. There's something we're supposed to bring up at the end.
We were going to mention that we were mentioned on another podcast. And you found the name of the podcast, and now I forget what it's called.
Oh yeah, I think it's the Lost Mythos.
The Lost Mythos, that's right. I think they're a new podcast. They didn't have that many. Their blog was pretty new looking, but
yeah, it was the one where they interviewed the Transmission.
Ryan and Jen from the Transmission.
The newly started up again Transmission.
Yeah, the renewed.
Yeah. After an
Transmission 2.
Yeah. Yeah, he brought us up, and I don't know. I wanted to acknowledge that, I guess.
Yeah. I believe if you check the, if anyone's interested, if you check the current post on the Lost Lowdown, the one for this podcast, you will see a little link to that podcast and where we're mentioned, and of course take the time to listen to the whole thing if you want.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really say anything except our podcasts are really long and we don't bat an eye at when we reach a really long period of time. And I got to tell you, this is 8 hours and 28 minutes, and we will mention it.
It's time to bat eyes at this
It's
point.
time to. Our eyes are batting because we're tired. At least, if that's the only reason, we're batting our eyes.
Yeah. This is for one 1 hour episode. This is a lot.
This is, I really would not have predicted this.
Me either. I thought it was going to be longish, but.
I thought, I think we had a couple fairly long tangents, but even I don't think we had a lot of tangents, but we had one or two really long ones.
Yeah.
But even with those, this was longer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I agree. For one stretch, this is.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the longest single stretch we did, because even the 13 hours, don't tell anybody. We recorded it in segments. So
yeah.
I don't think we did an 8-hour stretch in there. I think it was 5 hours and then another 5 hours and something like that.
Well, that's only 10 hours.
Well, and then 3. Whatever. Add it up yourself. Figure out. I can't remember, but it was definitely segments, and none of them were this long.
Yeah.
So this is a record for a continuous podcast, and it's pushing the limit. I don't think we could do much more than this at once.
Yeah. No, it's.
We've done
especially with the time difference.
Day. You could go to work and turn it on and work 8 hours.
Oh my God. Let's not put it into the perspective of what you could do in this 8 hours. You could go to sleep and wake up, and you could. Let's see. You could spend an hour a day for 8 days. I don't know what. Yeah, that's crazy. You can start when you get your morning coffee at work, and then by the time 5 o'clock comes, you're done with your Lost Lowdown.
It'll be over.
Wow.
And you can go home a whole day. God, that's crazy.
That is crazy. That makes us crazy.
It does.
And that makes anyone who listens crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You're
how it
all
works.
Guilty.
Crazy trickles down, people. No one wants to believe that, but crazy trickles down.
It does, yeah. It can't just be us.
Nope.
Oh, man.
So, Everyone knows the forum.
Yeah. Oh, I meant to say that at the beginning.
Yeah,
too late now.
That should have been at the beginning. No. Wait, time travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we should have mentioned the forum and the site, tllld.net and thelostslowdown.com.
Did we even say the URL, like, at the beginning? I really intended to.
When we talked about the post, the poll and all that?
I kind of
Probably
not. Didn't say it.
You know what? This is 2008. If you're listening to our podcast and you don't know how to find our website, then maybe you don't need to find it. I mean, maybe I just get snippy when I'm tired, but I think if you really want to find it and you're already listening, I think you can find it.
Yeah, if they know the name of the podcast, which we said
at the very least,
they can Google it and easily find us.
Yeah. And if you didn't think of that before, now we just told you, so you can go do it. If you were wondering how you would ever find the website, well, maybe if I keep listening, they'll tell me the name of their
site. But yes, please. I do still invite you to post on the forum that you can get to from there, or the comments if you like that better. Slightly less overhead for the comments, whatever your preference is. Because I like reading that stuff. It's fun. And
very, very fun.
And I think other people do too. Don't just do it for me. But I'm just speaking for myself here. Anyway, yeah, we're in the 4 o'clock hour, guys, so don't expect much out of me.
That was the thing I was going to say. It's hard to record a lot with the 3-hour time difference because I'm on the West Coast and you're on the East Coast. Or you're in the Eastern time zone, at least.
Yeah.
And that puts a little difference in it, too.
It does. We don't usually go this long, so we don't usually go this late, and so I don't usually get this out of it.
Yeah.
But, let's see.
All right, I think it's over.
Yeah, I think
Let's kill this chicken.
It needs to be. Yeah, indeed.
This 8-hour chicken. Dude, if we went 30 more minutes, we could just get to 9 hours.
Well, yeah. What are we going to do for 30 minutes?
No, I'm kidding. I don't want to do anything for 30 minutes but sleep.
I mean, where are they going to move the island to?
I know. Well, let's think about it. Let's come up each with 50 places they can move the island to. Go.
Okay. I don't know.
Fiji, go.
Okay, good. How are they going to move an island to Fiji?
Tahiti, go.
Okay. See, that's not going to work. What do you mean? They're going to switch places with that island, or
Amsterdam, go.
Okay, this is just now it's getting crazy.
Now we're just playing a geography game.
Yeah. You're just saying go. What am I supposed to do?
I don't know. Go.
Okay. I don't know what to do with that.
How about this? Thanks for listening, guys. We really appreciate it. This was a long one. If you managed to listen to the whole thing, you're a part of history now. Not history a lot of people would respect a lot, but we respect it, and thank you very much for it. And as I ramble, I will thank you and namaste.
Ditto. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Thanks and namaste.
Ditto to your previous statement. Okay.
Thanks and namaste.
Namaste. Good luck. Ugh.